Welcome to Beans and Breakdowns, a podcast dedicated to bridging the gap between specialty coffee and the heavy music community. Today, I'm joined by some neighbors of mine, Yan and Dom from Brutality Podcast. We got podcast on podcast today.
The inception.
Yes, it's a podcast within a podcast. What's going on, guys?
Yeah, doing good, man. Thanks for having us, man.
Yeah, thank you. Excited to be here.
I'm excited. I was happy that we got to meet in person before. I did not expect that, but
Neither. I turned around. I was like, "Oh, what's up, dude?"
well, it was like I was standing with John in the back of the room, came from hanging out, getting free beers backstage, which I won't talk about extensively, but came out. John's like, "Hey, there's Dom and Yan." And I was like, "Oh, fuck, they're here." And so I went up and I was like,
And I hadn't seen John in like probably 15 years. Like I've spent Christmas at his parents. Like I spent Christmas at his family's, but I hadn't seen that dude in fucking forever. So I didn't even know, well, of the band you guys are in. I didn't know you guys were in that band to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't know he was there with you when you said hi to us at first.
so many variables.
Yeah, man.
It was
Yeah.
pretty funny also because like I met a lot of people in real life at the show, and most of them were like, "I don't understand. I go to shows all the time. I've never seen you." I'm like, "That's because I'm not there." I don't, I love going to shows, but it's pretty rare, and I'm kind of an introverted. So I'm just like, well, since my channel, it's my first time going in Montreal. They're like, "Oh, so that's why." Exactly. That's because you had no chance of seeing me, but it was cool for me and Dom. It's a bit unreal to meet people and to see you're always in front of a screen, and as cool as it is to meet people online, it's not the same. So like you keep forgetting that people are actually watching and caring about you, dude. So that's awesome. Seriously, it was cool.
It's very surreal. And then like you guys have been doing video for a while. I did only audio, like we were talking about earlier. And so it was funny to meet people in person and then be like, "Wow, your voice sounds exactly like on the podcast." And I was like, "Well, yeah, it's my voice. Like, what did you think I had a separate voice?" Like
All podcasters, they bring the voice down and with some effects, maybe like an octave down, just get the deep voice.
Welcome to Beans and Breakdowns. Like imagine that. That's too
Hey.
sexy.
Some
Be
people
too
are
much to
doing it.
handle.
I mean, we could find our niche. Do you guys have any coffee?
All right, look, knew this was the beans and breakdown thing. All right, I salvaged all of the coffee things, which is very minimal, but all of the coffee things that I could muster. So in terms of a beverage, honestly, it's what is it? 7:30 p.m. So I'm on some decaf right now in the Star Wars mug, Maxwell House.
Maxwell House decaf.
I like a good coffee, but I don't do the good coffee at home. So that's kind of the extent of it.
I feel you.
Uh,
What do you got,
okay.
Yan?
I really suck on this. Honestly, I have one coffee a day because I love coffee, right? But I'm fighting for my life every time because I'm very anxious, and when I'm drinking coffee, it's like it's even worse. So I'm at one coffee a day, which is kind of already taken. But Mike, I can tell you about my coffee though. I think it's called Kick Horse, something like that. It's a good
Kicking
call.
Horse?
Kicking Horse. I love that thing. Like. And I know a lot of people don't do that, but I love what I do is I boil water, and I think it's called a pour over type of. That's my favorite way of doing it. It's like it's clear. I drink it black with nothing in it. It's my favorite coffee since forever. So that's kind of what I'm drinking.
When I first moved to Canada, I was getting Kicking Horse because I was just buying what I could find at the grocery store.
Kind of.
So I was drinking their like really light roast South American coffee that they had. But then I dove into all of the Montreal roasters and my life is ruined.
I should actually, or maybe I shouldn't, but it's fun to, what I've noticed, and again, I could be wrong, but back in the days, I would be the classic 4 sugars with like milk and stuff like that. It was me. But after a while, I started drinking it black. And I've realized that when you do that, it's kind of the same effect as like trying beers or wine or whatever. And now it's fun to try coffee because if you put 15 creams and sugar, no matter what you try, it doesn't make a freaking difference. You could drink instant probably. But now I'm really noticing, and it's fun to try.
I could put you on to some, but I have to do it right now. I'll tell you about one.
What are you drinking right now?
Yeah, I'm curious actually.
So I played a show in Ottawa on Friday with, I don't know if you know Scorching Tomb. So we played
By
with
name.
Scorching Tomb, Skullgate, and Mortal Rights, the only hardcore band on a fully metal bill, which was great. And it was the best Ottawa show ever. It was so good. And my friend John from Mortal Rights blessed me up with some Little Victories, which is my favorite Ottawa coffee roaster. And this is their Ethiopian Halo. I cannot read this because it's stamped. It's an Ethiopian coffee, and it tastes like peach, papaya, and lime.
Hell yeah.
And I did this on an AeroPress, which is kind of similar to the pour over. It's like a cross between a French press and a pour over, Yan.
It's interesting though, because I think in my life never tried, because the flavor you said, like I never tried anything like that. Like I've been pretty boring. I think the further I went was probably like kind of a chocolate thing. I think that was the extent, but I never tried flavors like that for coffee. It's even hard to imagine.
We're going to have to go get coffee one day.
We have to.
I will put you on.
It's going to be my
next
first
time
coffee,
Ian
so I'll
leaves
be
the
fine.
house. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. In 10 years.
Probably in 2 years, yeah.
Something like that.
The next Despised Icon show. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. It was a great show, though, while we're on the topic. It was insane.
Oh, my God. Seeing them twice in a row was crazy.
Well, you got to play.
Yeah.
How was that?
It was kind of insane. Like, playing in front of a death, like, I've never played in front of, like, mostly metal fans. Like, I usually play in front of people that know what hardcore is. So kind of getting to be, like, that introduction to hardcore for some people, and then seeing it kind of click with people in the crowd. Seeing spin kicking and two-stepping at a deathcore show was pretty cool, because I haven't seen that. Last time I saw Despised Icon was with Black Dahlia Murder in, like, 2023, I think. At Imtedis, and there was none of that. It was a lot of
Well, it's funny though. Yan and I literally had a discussion about this after the show before leaving. We found there wasn't really much moshing, and it was more of a push mosh kind of thing.
But you know
the
what?
entire show, at least day 2.
That's what I was about to say, though. I saw a video of Saturday. People were mushing. I don't know if it's like blind witness on the, I don't know what happened, but even during Despised, I was like, that's what I want to see. But on Sunday, like, I genuinely asked question to Dom, because I never go to shows, right? Almost. So I'm like, Dom, I have a serious question. Like, what happened to moshing? Like, what is that? Because like I was fully expecting Alex to like, Despised Icon have some of the best, in my opinion, moshing breakdowns. And
breakdowns, two steps, the whole thing, right? They've got the
yeah.
whole hardcore side to
They shouted out
deathcore and to
they
a
shout
T.
out hardcore on stage.
And I was about, they said like two-step. I was about, in my mind, I'm like, oh, people are going to go like, to still pushing each other. I'm like, why are you?
No, like open pit, right? Like there was no area like opened up for like a pit to happen type of thing. It just strictly kind of stayed like a push mosh kind of situation.
What's crazy to me too is the Beneath the Massacre has very, very, I mean, they're complex, but it's breakdowns. They've got like some mosh parts.
You want to punch people in the face with that kind of music, man. Like that's I don't know, man. It was, look, we're older now. We don't do the mosh, so we can't complain too much. We weren't in the pit either, right? But it was just interesting to see that like in such a big crowd there wasn't like at least a few people fucking being ninjas, you know?
But
I don't know, it was weird.
Yeah, with all due respect, like what I saw in the pit on Sunday, like it reminded me of what I would see in the front row of an underroad show. I was like, what is going on? Like that. No, but that was like, with all due respect, that was like the front row thing, people pushing each other. That's a thing that I've seen always. That I understand.
Between the pit and the stage. Yeah.
The buffer.
It's the whole point of a breakdown. It's for you guys to mosh. That's the whole point. If you're pushing each other, you miss the point.
And I want to be clear, it is not because of the lack of the bands trying to get people to move.
At all.
Elliot from Beneath the Massacre was like borderline pissed off. Like seemingly pissed off at least that people weren't like punching each other in the face. It was like, come on guys, what the hell is going on? And then Despised Icon, I mean, they're Despised Icon. It was a flawless set. In Montreal, it was crazy. Like there was no reason for people not to be amped up enough to do it type of thing, right? So I don't know. And like a no barricade show too. Like everything was like there for it to
Primed.
happen, you know. But
Prime to go.
yeah. I
That's
don't know, man.
it was an interesting, like, I think all in all, the way I would describe it is interesting, like amazing, but interesting is,
Yeah.
especially like people probably question why have a hardcore band open, for Despised Icon. We talked a little bit about this at the show, and, knowing that Alex comes from hardcore, deathcore, what's the second half of that word? Core.
Mm-hmm.
So I grew up in deathcore. I grew up listening to Suicide Silence. Still one of my favorite bands. The Cleansing is one of my favorite records of all time. And I got into like hardcore through deathcore. So I was watching crowd killing. I was watching moshing, spin kicking. Like that was all from deathcore what I saw it. And then when I got into hardcore, it was through bands like Bury Your Dead and like Thick as Blood that kind of blended those breakdowns in a more hardcore look. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so went in thinking like there might be some old heads here that remember Despised Icon from '07 and went to those shows at like Lex and Lanco and will come out of the woodwork. But I didn't. For our set, there was some people that I recognized, like kids that are in the scene. There's some bands that are kind of like, they call it beatdown or slam, but it's what I would describe as deathcore. And so a lot of those kids would go see Despised Icon, and some of them were there last night. Saturday night.
The thing that I told Yan, I think, is the fact that to your point, like, sure, like the old heads that were there in '07 and the moshers that we remember from back then, I mean, they're all older and they're de facto not in the pit,
Yeah.
right? It wouldn't be them regardless. So it needs to be like whoever is current, and like they asked at some point, like, who's seeing Despised Icon for the first time, and like a huge amount of people started cheering, like a lot of people, which is so cool to see, firstly. But I think that also does come, my kind of breakdown of it is like, for deathcore specifically, it's a new crowd. It's just an entirely new type of concert goer. I think since COVID. There's certain crops of bands. What made deathcore be popular again? It's bands like Lorna Shore, and current version of Lorna Shore is not a hardcore focused band at all, right? So you're not seeing hardcore mosh pits and stuff at a Lorna Shore show for the most part. And I think that's just kind of like the new crowd that's going to deathcore shows now. So if you see a third of the people, half the people are seeing Despised Icon for the first time. They're all newer kids. They're all freshly into deathcore, and their version of deathcore is more of a Lorna Shore type thing. I kind of get it. But I think for us who kind of lived through that era, it's a bit weird, right? It feels kind of out of place.
With all due respect, though, I would compare it, and it's just my opinion, but it is, on that part, it's a downgrade to me, because like it's like comparing MySpace and Facebook, right? Like Facebook is a new thing. Yeah, it sucks compared to MySpace. It's kind of the same thing for me in terms of like going from a mosh pit and like going crazy to we're pushing each other and we're, you know what I mean? Like it's
but
fine.
They just don't have the music. Like those enjoyers of the new kind of deathcore, they just don't have the music to mosh to. Like it just doesn't exist.
They have modern deathcore. If we're talking about like Body Snatchers and stuff, like they have a few bands.
There's very very few bands like that, though.
Yeah.
In the broader picture of what's popular in deathcore.
Oh, you do have a point. Right? It's very
like the
metal
Lorna Shore
oriented
type of breakdown that's kind of taken over what a breakdown sounds like in most deathcore bands right now is like not even really a moshable like breakdown, even if you wanted to. Like there's breakdowns, but it's
what I find is like we kind of lost it in that symphonic movement where it's like all the orchestra samples and the very like droney blackened elements that have entered, like, and I kind of feel like it's creating its own genre at this point.
Yep.
Because you got bands like Peeling Flesh. That's a band that you can fucking mosh to.
Absolutely.
You got Body Snatcher. You've got Left to Suffer. Like even Great American Ghost, I think, has some really great breakdowns. Like there's still those bands, and those bands will go on tour with Lorna Shore, but most of the people are going for Lorna Shore.
Yeah.
And it's even interesting. I'm watching sets from like Kubla Khan, and I grew up going to. I saw Kubla Khan's first tour like US tour in 2011, and like they were a hardcore band, but they played like deathcore music, kind of similar, but it was hardcore shows, and people were beating the shit out of each other, and it was like that until the pandemic, and from what I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just interesting.
There's been a shift.
Yeah.
There's
But
something. It's weird because it's weird to kind of it's weird to imagine it through whatever lens like someone new into the genre is looking at it from, because like what type of thing. Like we have the context, so it's hard to detach yourself from that and be like, what's a fresh eye, like a fresh mind, like looking at this thing, and what do they make of it? Right? It's like a weird thing to try and imagine for us, but yeah,
And-
it's weird.
For me, though, it's just, if you ask me, I think I'm a good example of that. I'm not a big death metal person, like, at all. I respect the style, but like, to me, it's lacking everything I love in hardcore. Like, I'm waiting for parts that it is never coming. So basically, it's just a build up and then the song is over. For me, that's death metal in general. A few exceptions in between. So for me, the appeal, and that's why I loved band like Suffocate back then, and like all those crazy like Demolisher stuff like that. Because to me, what I loved about it live was the hardcore energy. I keep saying that, like, hardcore in deathcore was the appeal of people who are not into the death metal and just like trashing and going with their hair. It's okay, it's fine. Like, I love when I'm seeing it, I'm like, those people are cool. I'm not against it. But in terms of deathcore, it's latched on to this hardcore energy, that kind of just like, it's almost scary. But when the only thing you can see is long hair going in like that and people pushing around, to me, it's like, I'm like, that's not
my genre. Yeah.
No,
Not my genre.
Always
But
subjective, but
it's more than just the breakdowns, right? It comes down to everything else that comes with hardcore. It's the build-ups, it's the two steps, it's the gang chant, it's like all those
Stage
things that were
dives.
in those bands that you did, the stage dives, like that, the crowd killing, all these things that like. And again, to kind of bring it back to Despised Icon, that's why to me it's weird to not see it at a Despised Icon show, because I feel like they were the band to throw like a shit, like, to do that fine line between having very death metal parts but also being super hardcore at the same
great
time. Right?
hardcore too.
Great
a
hardcore, good hardcore. Like, dude, I was listening. It's not the first time seeing them, but every time I see them, I'm reminded, like, the live energy of their songs. You can tell their songs are written for the live show. Like, all their songs have these insane kind of like build-ups, or like open notes, just like
The mosh
these
call
things
break.
that make, the mosh call, like,
Yeah.
and then just like these lyrics that are made to be like gang chanted over a breakdown, like that kind of energy. They're the best at it, man. They're so fucking good at it. So yeah, when you see that, and then again to not see the hardcore energy match that at a show, it's jarring for sure.
It wasn't a diss at this price, right? Because they're amazing, like 10 out of 10. Like, the show was perfect. But I legit told them, I'm like, it's not normal that, like, in 2009, I saw Sky Acer playing a Day to Remember and the Divorce Preda, and the mosh pit was way more violent than what I just saw. Like, it makes no fucking sense, People were going way crazier for a Day to Remember, with all due respect. A Day to Remember. So, like, Despise Icon, the image I had in mind, and Beneath the Massacre, maybe even worse, I pictured, like, these tall, big dudes just throwing down and breaking everything, That was the image. I was fully waiting and just like, that's gonna be, like, crazy. And I'm like, are they lost? Like, are they at the bat room? Are they, like, on their way? Are they late?
They all became weed smokers and cigarette smokers, and they're all outside.
They're all dads. They're all 45.
It's like, dude, they're just older. I'm like, okay.
Like, I still mosh, but I don't mosh as much as I used to. Like, I'm not moshing for entire sets. It's like I have I'll have a moment, and it's like, if I moved enough, then I'm gonna do it. Like, especially at bigger shows, I don't want people getting mad. You know what I mean? Like, because I'm from the U.S., we mosh very differently than how people currently mosh in Montreal.
Yep, we've seen that.
It's always been more tame in Montreal, though. To be fair,
that's what I heard.
It's always been, and by Montreal I mean just Canada in general.
Yeah,
you go 6 hours south to New York, and it's like a completely different beast.
I'll go to Albany.
Yeah,
3 hours, and it's scary.
Yeah.
But all that aside, I love being in the Montreal scene. I love living here. It's
Mm-hmm.
my home now. And like, it's interesting to know to learn the history. That's why I love being in a band with John. And like,
yeah.
he's like one of my,
been around. He knows. Yeah.
he's one of my best friends. The fact that you put up the Deadwalk EP on your phone the other day, which you do need to email me at some
I'll
point.
send you.
Yeah.
Look, MySpace rips for what it's worth. So terrible quality.
Bad
but
quality.
Hey, it's something.
But that's what I was ripping shit off LimeWire in like, 2007. That A Day to Remember Fully, that first one, like For Those Who Have a Heart or whatever. Yeah, and it's funny that you mentioned the Devil Wears Prada, people throwing down way harder in 09, because I went to that Devil Wears Prada Straight from the Path and Dying Wish show in like 2022, I think, at Beanfield, and like I was moshing super hard for Dying Wish.
Sorry, we don't call it Beanfield.
Sorry,
here.
Corona.
It's Corona. Okay?
It will always be
just
Corona.
Just to be clear.
That's for the New Jacks. Yeah, Corona, which is like one of my favorite venues in Montreal, and
great, yeah.
moshing super, super hard, and I like cake somebody like while I was doing, a mosh move, and the guy like shoved me. So then I kicked back at him because, that's you do.
Yeah.
And then he like came up to me, he's like, if you do that at a big show, you'll get your ass beat. I was like, this is a big show for me, dog. I was like, you wanna say something? Like, you have an issue? And he was like, no, just be careful. And I was like, dude, you're like in the pit, like you're in the pit.
Yeah.
Be careful in the mosh pit. Please, can you be careful in the mosh pit? Which part of a mosh pit you didn't get? Like, that's not...
He just didn't get it.
Because there's a few things I understand. Maybe we can talk about it if you want. But like, I understand when people are minding their business close to the bar and you go and you try. It's just like, dude, that's not like... You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like, but you're...
There's always one doing that at the show.
Yeah,
too, so.
I mean, it happens. It
Giving a
happens.
bad rep to all the others.
But my point is, you can do that, but don't be surprised if somebody punches you if you do that, though.
You can get
I
a
get
fight.
that.
Yeah.
That I get that. But people, like, I'm sure you guys saw that. People are right next to the pit. They're upset at people going on them. Like, I don't think you understand where you are at the moment. You're next to a pit, and you are surprised that maybe people are just move. Maybe that could be a good idea.
Go to the back.
You're upset. They're just like, they want to just move like 4 meters, maybe.
Yeah,
they're going to
maybe less.
Be fine.
Yeah.
Maybe less. Yeah, 1 meter. Gonna be fine.
One row behind.
Yeah, just move a person in front of you, and you'll be okay.
So that's but it was quite a big contrast for me. That's what I told Dom. And that's what he said, because we went to the Reverend Elysia show in in California, and that was a real pit. That pit was a real pit. That was what I remembered. So for me, who doesn't go to a lot of shows, to see that and then to see what I said, I was like, man.
And to be clear, moshing technically wasn't even allowed at the show.
On top of it, yeah.
Hell yeah.
And people were getting as rowdy as we've ever seen.
Yeah.
I mean, even in Connecticut, we played a show, and it was like at a VFW, but most of the other bands are like these young kind of MySpace sounding, like beat down deathcore bands. And there were kids there that moshed they're kicking the shit out of people. And there's like 30 people there, and there's 5 people just beating everyone up. And it's like, dude, this is like shit that I was in high school doing.
Well,
like this is great. And then in Montreal, you go and it's like people won't mosh to Despised Icon.
Well,
that's crazy.
We cover like the MySpace like revival bands, like all these fucking 16, 17, 18-year-old kids that think that old school Suicide Silence is the coolest shit ever again. Like, I live for it. But all these shows that these bands play, like in Cali, in Texas, but you see them tour now, and it's like that everywhere. These like, these massive fucking venues, they're selling out like 500, 600, 700 tickets on a Wednesday night, and everyone is against the wall, and the entire room is a pit, and it's the coolest thing to see, because again, we haven't seen that in so long.
I know.
But so some bands and some scenes are bringing it back, but again, yeah, I think it's just like a different, like deathcore's moved into like another kind of category, like you said, is kind of becoming its own new thing, separate from that. But I think the revival is like bringing that in a big way. Like, they get it. That's what they're for.
Oh yeah.
And they don't care. They're all 15, 16,
Yep.
17 years old. They're like, we joke they mosh like they've got health
It's
insurance.
true. It's a kill or be killed environment.
Yeah.
But it's part of the appeal, though. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like, even because now I don't, I used to mosh, but that was this little nervosity you would get. Because there are some shows that I was like, I'm moshing tonight. And then, with all due respect, I was like, can I? Like, I was looking at the pit. I was like, might die, like, this time, Like, I'm not, as much as I love moshing.
You got your will in your backpack just in case.
I mean, I remember looking at people and being like, I don't know about this one. I don't know if I'm gonna try, but like, I remember because I've always been like a small dude, right? So like, I fully remember going there and looking at and I would be looking at people like that. I was like, oh yeah, that's gonna be different. You know what I mean? Like, he won't even feel it. Like, I'm like he's just gonna be like, what is happening? But the part that it's kind of scary, and it's not scary in the terms of just like people are nice, but I mean like the show itself, to have this element of just like, shit, that's crazy. And when you feel the room when he calls the pit and it just like tripled in size, it is part of the experience to me. So that's why it's a bit confusing not seeing that, because it's in my mind, it's like it's part of the appeal of the thing. So I guess that's my reaction.
Absolutely. That's why I stayed in hardcore for so long, is because there's like that adrenaline element. Because like I might mosh, but I might not. But you know what? The thought of getting into mosh makes me excited. So
yeah, hardcore. It's really within hardcore. I don't think, for what it's worth, I don't think hardcore ever lost that, like, ever.
there were some years like there was a lot of
Yeah?
posi, like the posi core kind of stuff. I think kind of stripped it away. Like people didn't want to see any kind of moshing or violence
Oh.
or anything like that. There's always been this undercurrent of like moshing, especially in certain scenes. But from what I know in Canada for a while, and like Montreal, Toronto especially, there was like a very big like posi style. Like during the 20s, that kind of moshing went underground, I guess. More underground.
Yeah.
But I think it's back with like the younger kids. And there's some bands that I could shout out, like Talk 'Em Down. They're doing like a MySpace era kind of beat down, inspired by like, they always get on stage with like On Broken Wings and like Suicide Silence hoodies and shit like that. And it's like, a 17-minute set with like 3 lines of vocals, and the rest is just breakdowns. And like their posse comes out.
Just how we like it.
Yeah,
the way all things should be.
Their
Yep.
posse comes out, and it's like a bunch of like 16-year-old goons in hoodies, like up, like just beating people up, which is great. Like I love to see that. And it's really funny. But I think it's coming back. It's a little slower in Montreal than in the rest of the States, but I think it'll catch up.
No, I think you have a good point. Like, and Dom, what you said, I think you're right. Also, Deathcore. If we're talking specifically about Deathcore, it's bigger than it ever was, and thanks to obviously those big bands like Lorna Shore and stuff like that. But as cool as it is that now it's bigger, it's also very different, and it is the introduction to a lot of people. So to them, to Dom's point, it's maybe they just have no clue. They're just looking to see those moments, and they're like, that's a cool band, and they're going like the culture itself. You kind of, not that you had to be there, but kind of. I don't think people are except us, because we're nerds and we live in the past. But I don't think these kids are going online being like Mosh Pit 2008. You know what I mean? Like I don't think they're looking for these things. So that's why we've gotten the revival, because it's part of the culture. But when you look at I saw Lorna like a few years ago, and people were just, it was more of a show. It's like they were waiting to see what would happen. It wasn't like I'm going to throw it. It was just like, I want to see those bars. That was the effect,
Like a
with the
spectacle.
phones. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that's what it kind of has turned into, like a spectator, like a spectacle in a sense.
Theatrical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's where I do, like, I always thought that metal was like that, which is why I was never super into metal. And and I think it's funny that you're like, death metal was never my thing. It took me a long time, like when I was almost 30, where I was like, you know what, death metal's kind of cool. But like, I don't like going to death metal shows. I just like listening to death metal, if that makes sense. Like I'll listen to it when I'm feeling it, but going to metal shows is so boring to me, because it's just like everyone's kind of standing there drinking beers. Everyone smells like beer. Like it's just a
okay.
very beer centric thing. So I have my moments in that, and I have death metal music that I'm working on, but it's more for me being an old man at this point. It's not anything other than like that. But it is the excitement of, you know, hardcore, deathcore, those times that we're remember is it's because everyone's there together. You know, like the band's there, but what's just as important are the people in the audience that are there, and the energy is going back and forth, and there's kind of like this like collaborative element to it.
Yeah. And to your point with the death metal thing, because it's the same as you. Like it took me forever I think what I love in death metal, it's mostly like, I don't know, Waking the Cadaver, which is like close to deathcore and stuff like that. You know, Sanguis Singable, like that type
Yeah.
of death metal to me is awesome because to me it's close to hardcore almost.
Yeah, it
And
is.
so that's why it might be why I'm fine. I'm loving it.
The slam adjacent stuff.
Slam adjacent
like-
stuff is great.
But I think the problem with me though back then, it was the way it was introduced to me was I didn't come from death metal. I came from like early Divorce Preda, like that. I think it's just take one look at me. It's easy to tell. Like I came from like metalcore and like emo and stuff like that. So
Scene kid.
exactly. So I'm in my 30s and I'm kind of still that. So that's that's what happened. But when the death metal, the impression I had from death metal was just like, they hate fun. Like, what is going on? Like, they were like, we would, something was funny and they would just be like, it's not like it's not metal. It's not real metal. You're not
you
a real
know there's going to be people in the comments being like, yeah, well, haven't you heard of Party Cannon and haven't you heard of Stillbirth? And like, we'll name you the three funny death metal bands that
Right.
exist, or now Slam's kind of taken the piss out of
Yeah.
itself a little bit, but yeah,
which is
it's
okay. But to me, it was always
largely been a more serious genre for sure.
I grew up in the early 2000s when you could do whatever the hell you wanted, right? Like Blink-182, just being idiots in the street. So like to me, it was always like just live and let live. So when I saw these people within darkest, most violent music having their own sets of rules down to like the way you're supposed to look, I was like, isn't it ironic in many ways? Like you're trying to control how people look in the outcast scene, like, you know what I mean? So, and we could even circle the conversation to Despise Icon. They were hated in the beginning just for that, because they were dudes that look more hardcore with caps and stuff like that. It's so stupid. Their
Baggy
music
ass
was great.
shorts.
So
The
I was just like,
elitism.
these people are boring. With all due respect.
I think a lot has changed. I think a lot of that hardcore guy playing death metal helped kind of
That's like a wave right now. There's so much of it.
like the Gate Creepers,
Yeah.
the Frozen Souls, like a lot of that really kind of smoothed, I think, the playing field. And I remember seeing Gate Creeper open for Skeleton Witch, and I was like, this is a weird fucking show, because all of my hardcore friends showed up to watch Gate Creeper and like moshed and then like left, and they opened. So yeah, it was pretty funny. But I think we're in a very different place, which I think is why we're kind of warming up to the idea of death metal, especially when you get in there. There's some hardcore riffs, you gotta you sprinkle a little bit.
It's close. If you take, and correct me if I'm wrong too, because you obviously know way more than me in hardcore and stuff, but like, I feel like Brutal Death specifically is really close to hardcore, like very close to hardcore. Like I'm hearing some riffs sometimes, I'm like, that's a straight up hardcore parts within that metal, and the appeal I think for me is there, like in those kinds of riffs.
Well, there's an argument right now about like brutal hardcore versus brutal death metal, and it's like they're the same thing. They're exactly the same thing. You're just wearing
the same coin.
You're wearing different uniforms.
Well,
It's
there we
like
go.
one's rugby, one's Gaelic football. Like they're both the same thing, and you just trying to look different, and you're signed to different labels that claim to be something like one's hardcore, one's death metal, but you basically could be on the same bill, and nobody would care. So
I see.
Yeah.
I have so much respect for. We talk about this a lot, but there's a few of the more legacy kind of death metal bands that have always kind of championed hardcore and playing on diverse bills, and not necessarily just playing, like Suffocation, Dying Fetus, even Cannibal Corpse to an extent was bringing out deathcore bands early, deathcore days, stuff like that. And I don't know. We're seeing more of that now, which is cool.
Mhm.
But from the death metal scene, we didn't see it from many bands for the longest times. But I do think like the ones that did, it clearly paid off.
Yeah.
Like,
Terror
they
is
were
as-
they were all of a sudden playing with the other big bands in the scene while like
Mhm.
death metal was kind of in the dumps and deathcore was the thing for
Yep.
a minute. And people who were embracing that, like, they really expanded their audiences and stuff. And I don't know, man. I've always thought that sort of stuff was cool.
Especially because it's risky to do that. Like
Mhm.
when you look at their audience, like how what did you do? I remember those comments. People like it's funny when you say it like that, but mad at like Dying Feet. How can you bring those back? Like if something bad would happen, like it's just like arrive later to the show. That's the worst scenario for you. Like nothing's gonna happen. They were like, how dare you do that? It was like
You've got more time
it
at
was
the bar.
treason.
Like, chill.
Yeah,
Go
how
smoke.
you're turning your back on us. How dare you support? They have breakdowns. Did you hear that? They have breakdowns in their song. How dare you bring those bands? It was just funny. And the bands themselves never cared, I think. They're just like,
No, they're homies. They're all homies.
Yeah.
They just want to play a show together. Like that's why I love Terror, is because
Yeah.
I've seen
exactly.
Terror play in front of an all hardcore crowd, and knock it out the park. I've seen Terror play to a sold out venue full of metalheads, and the metalheads were stage diving.
Yeah.
Like
awesome.
it's you need to be able to, I think, win over a crowd in a way and be like, we're gonna give the same show to everyone.
Yep.
And I think that that's an important part of that. That's why I love Dying Fetus, is because Dying Fetus will do a full metal tour, or they'll do a tour where there's like this weird metalcore band knocked loose and like, I don't know, like Speed or
Yeah.
something. It's
We
weird.
just so like you headline, this is hardcore
Yeah.
and shit. Like, it's like hell yeah. Like, and you see that set, and it's the coolest thing ever. It's a fully hardcore crowd going crazy.
Obituary at LDB.
Oh yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And it's also like it's another conversation we have a lot. People are loud, right? Like these people are loud, but when you see what's happening in the show, maybe some people are going to be loud, but you never know. Maybe some people, you just introduce people to hardcore or deathcore or death metal, and some of these people are going to go then in their car and be like, that was actually kind of sick. But the problem with how it is, with social media and stuff like that, it's going to be the dude who maybe wasn't even there. It's gonna be like, how you shouldn't do that. Metal should be with that metal. But these people are loud, but it's not the actual scene, and I don't think it ever was.
Yeah,
For
we
what it's worth.
we over index that stuff for sure.
The scene happens in person. And this is like my main thing is I might sound like a boomer. I can't stand like the chronically online chatter of like, everyone's got an opinion, everyone's got a commentary, and they all feel super entitled to that being broadcast. And this is super ironic, I think, and
given what we're doing.
hypocritical as we're doing that currently. But for me, like the scene always happened in person. You know what I mean? It was always, you go to shows, you see the same people. Those are your friends that you see at shows, and you kind of know each other. And then maybe some of those people become closer, but you met them in person. You didn't meet them through like a Twitter group. I don't know how that works. Anyway, you don't meet anyone online. I found my bandmates in person.
That's awesome.
I found them by going to shows and meeting them and hanging out and watching to their bands. And like, not even through the podcast. It was just like I was going to enough shows and getting involved with the scene to where we're able to meet all these people. That's what is natural. Like
that's the best way.
Yeah.
But I think it's rare to be, especially now. But it would be the ideal way. But I think you also have a point in terms of things are happening in person, right? Like all these comments that I still get, of course, now maybe more than ever, of people being like, "You're not a real metalhead," and I'm like, "No, I'm not. I don't. It's fine. No, but it's okay. Like you'll be fine. Like we're good. Like it's fine. Yeah, you're not a. No, I'm not. It's you are great, but in person it never happens, right? Like how you won't be outside of the show. Hopefully that would be funny. Well, I would like to see that, but like somebody coming to you and you'd be like, "Hey, what's up? Yeah, you're not a real metalhead, huh?" No,
I never claimed to be.
And it's
Like,
okay,
that's why
right?
it's so
Like I'm
funny.
gonna go in my car afterwards, after I don't know, like a Weekend at Cadaver show, and then I'm gonna listen to Blink-182, and I don't understand why you're upset by that. I don't understand why you're mad. Like if I'm watching a horror movie, I might watch a comedy right after. It's okay. You can do more than one thing. But my point is, I don't think it happens that much in real. All
Mm-mm.
that stuff it's always been online for the most part, and from my experience at least. But it doesn't really happen in. So if you don't pay attention to that, which is difficult now, I get it. But if you don't, you won't even see it. If you just focus on the shows, you won't even. Who cares?
When I stopped making music, I told myself, "Fuck the internet. I'm out." I was keeping social media strictly
That didn't
to
work out.
market my band and those connections and to be in the zeitgeist and to know what's going on. And now here we are. I had
And
to
then
start a
you are.
podcast. And
Damn.
Maybe
it's
worse.
the same thing all over again.
Probably worst. Like even
I got to be tapped into everything all at once, all the time.
No, you
We're
even
right back in it.
expended on that. Like you, not only are you there, but it's even worse. And now
You're
you're tired.
contributing.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
That's crazy. What would you say? We can go maybe Yan and then Dom. What was that first band that you heard where you were like, "What is that? I've got to get into whatever this is."
Dom?
You go, Yan.
I go? Okay. So if we're talking, because I'm guessing the answer of your question might be not me jumping on my bed at 9 listening to Blink-182. We're talking heavy music.
I mean, it could be that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there was that. And for people watching, if you want to know how old I am, it was a cassette. So that's,
Dude,
you know.
wait. Was it the sampler cassette, like in the paper and the?
No, it was the actual like take off your pants and jack, like
Okay.
because for no reason my parents they don't know how much it
Yeah,
changed
because I had
my
that
life.
CD.
It's my parents, they didn't know when I was 18 when I did all my tattoos. It was kind of their fault. They bought me like a Blink-182 cassette. I saw Travis Barker at 9, and my whole life was changed. So it's on them actually. But yeah, so it started there. But heavy, if we're talking heavy music, from memory, the moment I heard stuff more like Linkin Park and Limp Bizkit, like the new metal thing, I was like, they would scream not that much, but there would be some scream. I was like, that's awesome. And then going into, A Day to Remember, early Divorce Prada. I think we talked earlier about early A Day to Remember. Most people don't know that, but very early A Day to Remember was sort of like post-hardcore metalcore. It was awesome with like Heartless and all those songs. Going into the Divorce Prada. And the funny thing today is we have a Deathcore podcast, but I fully remember hearing Divorce Prada being like, it's too much. It's really heavy, hearing like I remember telling my friend, how does somebody listen to that? And I would listen to like Silverstein, right? And Thunder Road and stuff, but like Divorce Prada was a step. It was, I was like, oh, that's too much. And everything changed when I heard Prefer Plague. Like my best friend at the time was just like, showed me that. And I was like, and I heard a breakdown. Like I loved breakdown in Divorce Prada, but that breakdown with the build up changed my life. The whole thing I wanted to hear was breakdowns. I would skip, I would go on MySpace. If you didn't have a breakdown, I'm gone. Like I'm looking in your player, I'm scheming. If I don't hear a breakdown very soon, gone. Like you're not one of my bands. And it changed my entire life, So speaking like that, I do understand why the maleheads hate me though. As I'm saying it, just to make it clear, if any real maleheads watching, you're validated. I do understand you hating me. I get it now. So that was my introduction. So
Tom, what do you have?
Similar-ish pipeline. It was kind of like I listened to the radio. That's like all I listened to. Kind of, I guess, by lack of having the means to. There's like no way to discover things when you're like younger. I didn't have like MTV or much music here or whatever. I didn't have cable TV, so it was I would like I loved music, but it was like I would sit in front of my like radio with the 2 speakers and the 5 CD
Yeah.
thing, and like I would record songs on the radio from like and it was like a mix of like the alternative like hard rock stuff. I don't know, the PODs and the Puddle of Mud and like Stained and Disturbed and like this sort of stuff. And then at some point like Linkin Park entered the chat, and like that I was a die hard Linkin Park fan. I was part of the fan club. I've got their signatures on a poster somewhere that I can't find how much that's worth, so I just haven't put it up on eBay because of that. But like, I just couldn't get enough of it. But at a certain point, I was kind of, you listen to the radio, it's the same songs all day. Like, you've heard them at a certain point. And then Linkin Park, I had also really, like, gone through the discography one times too many. So I was kind of bored. And my best friend back then gave me for my birthday, he bought me, so we're going like radio stuff, and then he gives me the self-titled album from Alexisonfire.
Oh, wow.
And like Alexisonfire became more approachable over the years, but that self-titled is like really, it's pretty intense. Like the screaming is like not enjoyable. Like it's very abrasive, And I remember he put it in. And he's like, "Oh, you gotta listen to this. It's got the coolest intro ever, man." And it's like, do dee do dee. It's like that on repeat for like a minute, and then at a certain point, he like starts screaming over it, and it goes super chaotic, and kind of like Yan with Devil Wears Prada. I was like, this is like too much. This is I can't. So I kind of just put it to the side. And that's kind of like where afterwards I'm like still just listening to the radio and stuff, but I get super bored. And I think like a year later, I'm like, I have this CD. Let me like, I'm like just craving anything new. So I pop the CD back in and I listen to it. And for whatever reason, at that point, it clicked. I was like, there's something there. And then I just couldn't get enough of that sort of music. So for a minute, it was, I don't know, maybe some of the more emo stuff in conjunction with that. Like we get into MySpace kind of all at the same time too. So it's listening to like Jan Silverstein, The Yellow Card. The Story of the Year is a big Story of the Year guy for a minute. Fast forward a bit there, I have a friend that he just sends me his Soulseek. Do you remember or know of Soulseek?
It sounds really familiar, but I don't recall hearing it.
It's like it was kind of like LimeWire, but instead of like searching for like anything, it was like you're like, for the most part, you could tap into like a specific person's library. So he had all of his music. Shout out Baker. He like just gave me the link to his music and like shouted out like 20 bands, and it was like just listen to these. And it was all stuff like, it was a mix of some like death metal stuff like Cephalic Carnage and Devourment and stuff like that. But then amongst that was also like early Suicide Silence, Whitechapel, like Job for a Cowboy, those sorts of bands. And when I heard that, I was like, oh, same kind of aha moment for me. Like there's something here. I don't know. At that age, you don't comprehend why you like something, but it just hit different. And like out of those bands, I'd still kind of listen to the death metal bands on the side, but I always gravitated back to the deathcore bands. And then, it was MySpace, top 8s, you're going through and finding. I became like, I was always like that, the being a super nerd about things and Excel spreadsheets of my Pokemon cards and all this sort of stuff. So being on MySpace, discovering underground bands became my new
becoming
obsession.
A programmer at the same time. That's another,
learning
HTML.
Yeah. So that became like the kind of rabbit hole that kind of led to why I even do the things that I do today. But yeah, it was like early Whitechapel, Suicide Silence, Job for a Cowboy. Those are the ones that I really remember. But it was really quick afterwards into like, it was the beginning of the MySpace deathcore really being like, all the underground bands were like super accessible and being shouted out, and you could easily go from one to the other and find out a bunch of stuff. So yeah, that's what changed. A long-winded thing, but that was my intro to heavier music.
I cannot believe that my story was faster than yours. I cannot believe that. That's insane. It's an accomplishment for me.
You made more of an effort than I did, probably. That is what
I did my best. I could have spoken for like 15 hours. I'm okay with it.
It's interesting, Yan, that yours was Pray for Plagues, because that's exactly the song that I heard where I was like, oh no. Oh no. Yeah, that's really funny. I remember seeing the video and being like, dude, what the hell? And then
that was insane. Yeah. That Pray for Plagues, I feel like, because I think I said that in one of my videos, but the transition made sense for a band like Bermuda. Like for anybody who came from our background, like whatever you were listening to, but like Silverstein, Under Road, and all that kind of scene, Atreyu, whatever, it made all the sense in the world that we would love something like Prefer Plagues because it was so melodic, and even the screaming wasn't too far. Sure, it was heavier than most of it, but if you listen to a song like Texas is South from the Divorce Prada, and then you listen to Prefer Plagues, sure, it's heavier, but in terms of scream and styles, it's not too far for us to be tempted then to listen to other things. I think it did make sense.
Well, I even think it's in
most
the
of us.
I think it's in the same tuning as the Plagues record from Devil Wears Prada.
It could be. It would make
I think if I may be wrong, but it's super close because Bring the Horizon changed tunings between Count Your Blessings and
It was in B on Count Your Blessings. Am I crazy?
I think it was B, and then they went to like B flat. Because I know the Come Down is B flat. Because I remember trying to learn it in high school, and I was like, "What tuning is this? My guitar is gonna die. Like I can't tune this low."
Well, even B for me, I was like, "Wait, what? What's going on here?"
Up to that point, it was like we're playing in C sharp. You know, it's that's heavy.
But there was Prada, if I remember properly, it's either, I would say D or C would be my guess. Probably D.
I think it's C sharp because it's D standard, and then you drop the low string, and
makes sense.
C sharp. But I think I know for a fact Under Oath is all D until like the most recent records, which, no disrespect, do not listen to those. I don't like them at all. Like Erase Me, as soon as they started cursing, I was like, nope, can't do it. It's weird.
Yeah, if you ask us, I mean, in general, I'm speaking for both of us, but at least for me, it's like it's really early on the road. Like if you ask me, like, oh, which on the road? No, and even very early on the road. You know, as much as I love like Reinventing Your Exit and stuff like that, the old stuff with like
Active
Angel
Depression.
Below or whatever, like the older stuff, that was awesome. Like I think it's one with like a city on it, maybe with lights or whatever. That
Changing of Times.
That one was great.
That's Sun Sleeps.
Yeah, those that was my introduction to Under Road, and I was like, okay, that's pretty.
Chasing After Safety fanboy for sure. I was learning how to scream from that and A Legs on Fire. Those were the two things in my register at the time.
I remember listening to Alexis because one of my high school friends was like plugged in on that. And looking back at it now, like before I even knew most of the other Southern Ontario bands, like it is so that sound of like London, Hamilton.
Well, it became that sound because of them.
Yeah.
Everyone wanted to be Alexis on Fire for the next 10, 15 years afterwards. That was like the recurring thing. Every Ontario band ever was trying to sound like it was all the screaming vocalist with the singing and that same kind of like riffing.
I was late to the party though, because my introduction to Alexis was like Accident in that album, so I was a bit late.
That's the second album. It's still relatively early.
I will be honest. I have never gotten into Alexis.
Never?
Ever. I've listened to it.
It's a particular sound, dude. It's.
I think I missed the bus.
It's completely different than anything else for what it's worth. It's its own thing.
Where should I start? I'm gonna try to go back.
I honestly, the one that Yan's talking about, the Watch Out, that CD, I think it's fucking awesome.
I still like it personally,
start to finish. Yeah,
I'm sure you too, Dumb, right? Like I mean,
because the self-titled, the first one is like it's way more chaotic, which could be something you also enjoy. But I think the Watch Out was like the first one that they were maybe more approachable despite still being like, heavy and stuff. And then to me personally, honestly, those are the two only albums that I really listen to. So anyone who like gets introduced to Alexis on Fire afterwards, to me, it's kind of like a neutered version of Alexis on Fire. They became way more just trying to be catchy and trying to be poppy real quick after that.
Because
they've got some decent songs on Crisis on the album that came afterwards, but
is it the one with like because this
frogs and all that stuff?
Like because I think they became 50 billion times bigger at that moment.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But it was kind of like the A Day to Remember effect, like those kind of like big choruses.
Yep.
That sort of thing was really popping off at the time, and that's kind of the direction that they went to. And there's. Again, to Yan's point, like they blew up with that album. They became an even bigger
And then
But
I
for
think
me, for like the reason I got into Alexa on Fire in the first place, we're just like so far gone from that, right? So
And I think it's a fair statement to say that most of us afterwards were fans of City and Carter, just without consulting anyone. Everybody just was on board with that. Like we all
Absolutely.
listened to it on
I
iPods
still have
and
an
shit.
acoustic guitar exclusively to play
What-
Coming Home and maybe a couple Never Shout
I
Never
thought I was
songs.
The Girl.
That's like,
The Girl. You gotta play The
Yeah,
Girl.
The Girl is great. Yeah.
Like,
I
was
love
in
that
the
you go
bus.
never shout never in the two City and Color songs that we all play. And Mayday Parade, I'll play that one song where it's like, I had a dream last night.
Dude, I keep making jokes with Dom. Like I'm still kind of emo. Like I'm still listening to those things. Like I don't know what the problem is with me. Like I'll
Senses
wake
Fail.
up, like yeah,
Senses Fail is
If a
great.
Senses
I
Fail
love
song
Senses
comes
Fail.
on, I might mosh. Like it's moshy enough.
That was awesome. Like if people,
I
would
heard you talking
see-
about Emery on another.
That's my favorite band
Yeah.
of all time.
that was. I heard some of it. It was cool.
The
thought it was
Question,
cool.
I got that CD when I was 12, and I have listened to it, I think. I mean, I still listen to it at least once a year.
Okay, but hear me out. I think a lot of music. I mean, look, maybe I'm gonna get flamed for this, but it's funny you say that you were listening to, you got that CD when you were 12, because to me it's kind of like 12-year-old music. Like it's like the angsty, depressed, like woe is me.
Nobody
type
gets
of,
me.
Like
You don't understand what
I
I'm
think
going through.
there's like something to that, and it's weird because for me, as much as I loved that shit when I was a teenager, now when I go back to a lot of those records, it just makes me depressed.
Yeah.
And we always knew it was like sad music and whatever, and that was, and we were about it back then too. But now it puts me in a mood. Like I have a hard time going through it and then going on with the rest of my day. Like it just puts me in a sad mood. So I don't know. I guess my relationships kind of changed with that over time.
I feel that. I can feel that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm not. Look, we have like all we talk about is MySpace Deathcore. But that being said, I'm not very I'm not super nostalgic or emotionally attached to.
Oh,
to
same.
music
I'm
in
not
the way that in the
very not
yeah, sure,
nostalgic
yeah.
at
Oh,
all.
I am.
No, I'm-
I was listening to like my most played record this year on Spotify was Third Eye Blind, self-titled.
No, but he first of all, great one. Second of all, I was completely ironic because my whole life is in the early 2000s. Like
It's like this dude's bullshitting right now.
My entire channel, the reason why even we have a podcast right now and I started my channel is because I live in the past. Last week I bought a PSP. Like I couldn't be
You got a PSP.
more. Yes, I couldn't be more nostalgic, and I overpay everything because I want the physicals. I have a PS1. I have I'm living in the past. I have a DVD collection. I'm the most nostalgic person I've seen in my life is me.
Oh,
I'm the
yeah,
most nostalgic person
for
I've
sure.
ever seen. I still watch the movies that when I was a kid. I'm that nostalgic. I watch the same 5 shows. So music for me, and I told them many times, like I have this weird ability. Like if I'm listening to a song, I go back in time so much that I can like smell I was, feel like I'm gone for like a moment. I look insane. Like sometimes people are just like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, I was in the moment. Now I'm not, but it was great. So I live in nostalgia. I'm assuming it, trying to assume it, but I couldn't be more living in the past, with all due respect.
I'm maybe not that intense, but it's like
Thank
can't-
God.
Yeah, no, I mean,
It's a good thing.
I don't wish that on anyone.
No, it's
I
too
kind of
much.
like. I mean, I could see how it's too much, but like, because music has been such a like big part of my life for so like since I was like 5, I can remember getting a drum kit and like playing along to DC Talk. Like I had a live DVD and I was like, I'm gonna do that one day. And then I was like playing along to the drum kit, like with the thing. It's like I can still like whenever I do hear certain songs that were so like connected to a memory, it does really, maybe not the smell and stuff like that. That's pretty wild. But like
I
But
make
like,
no sense as a person. Like I'm convinced. Like we talk about that a lot. Like I have no. How do you say in English? Like diagnostic. Like I don't have like I'm not
oh, there's no,
diagnosed
yeah,
with
there's not,
stuff.
yeah.
But like the list of things they would give me would be probably like, oh my god, like that's here's the list of things you have. That's why you're like that. But I get your point. To be fair, like I think if you're a bit much, like I feel like I'm way too much in the extreme. But I don't think it's bad. Like I've seen some people being like, oh no, you shouldn't think about it. I think it's okay to
Mhm.
listen to relive some stuff and to be able to revisit some memories with like movies, moments, and that's also how we not to get too dark here, but that's also how we keep people's memory alive and stuff like that. You know, when it
Mhm.
reminds you of a great moment or someone, maybe that person isn't even there anymore. I think it's cool and it's a good thing, but take it from someone who's too much in the extreme. If it's too much, a problem with that is sometimes or even often you get sad when you shouldn't. Like you
Mhm.
should just feel lucky that you had that great memory instead of just being like, oh my God, it was so much better. Which I find myself often, dumb knows, like if you get me started on things like gaming or anything, I'm like, it was so much better back then. Like I'm that person, unfortunately. But I think if like a good amount of nostalgia is completely, for what it's worth, I think it's sane. I think it's okay. So
I wish I could tap into that. Like, I wish I was able to kind of like relive childhood or teenage years or like to really like to like I wish like I don't choose to be this way, but like there is no like song that I'll listen to that I'll be like all of a sudden back in my first car or something like
You
that.
didn't
That
pick your
just,
Man,
that
really?
just doesn't do that to me. Like I
you
don't
didn't
know.
pick your stats when you
It
you
does-
started
it-
that RPG. Didn't
It'll
pick your
do it to
stats.
me for the and the very few things that'll do it for me. It'll do it more so with like smell, like
Okay.
a specific brand of cigarettes, and I'll be like, oh, right, I've never smoked, but that reminds me when I lived in Kingston with my roommate who smoked that sort of cigarettes only
Viceroys.
in his car, right? Like
The red one?
that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Because
I don't ask me the brand. I can only
no,
identify
he's
the
talking
smell.
about vice versa. The red one was fine. The blue was terrible. Like terrible.
I never smoked here, so I don't. I only
Okay.
know because I've had friends, and I'm like, these all smell disgusting.
Dude,
Mhm.
I have a very short. I'm gonna try and make it very short. I cannot believe still to this day that I used to smoke because I spent my life being like, I'm never gonna smoke. Next thing you know, I'm in my first apartment, all smoking, and we would smoke Vice or like the red pack, and it was very strong. Like people would look at you and be like, "You smoked that?" But weirdly,
Just to prove a point.
the blue one was so disgusting that I'm not kidding. I used the blue one to stop smoking. When I was ready to stop smoking, I bought that pack because I knew I wouldn't want to smoke anything out of that, and it helped. So I guess thank you, Viceroy Blue, for helping me stop. Not the best publicity, but it worked. So it was that disgusting. Like seriously, I would be feeling bad, like just like smoking it. So that's my little story about it.
I think the worst era for smokers was the menthol, the fucking.
Oh no, those are
mint.
amazing.
No,
Oh
there's
my
no
god,
fucking
I
way.
couldn't do it. I wasn't
Stop.
able to do it.
That is.
You like those?
I was a menthol guy. Yeah,
Wow.
a pack a
It's all
day.
you.
A pack a day for 3 years, baby.
You did that.
I did.
That's
American
kind of like
Spirit menthols.
that's kind of like the precursor to vapes. I feel like in the sense,
Yeah, I
you
had
know,
vaped
just
after
'cause
that.
it- right? the scented or flavored fucking cigarettes. That's I don't know. Dude, it's crazy
Cigars,
that stuff
too.
is legal.
Do
Dude.
you remember that? Like people wouldn't smoke, but they would buy like
Black
flavored
and Mild.
cigars. Like
Yeah,
and
my high school friends would go to the corner store to get cigars,
chocolate
shitty
and just,
cigars.
like,
Oh yeah,
like-
black and mild wine wood tips.
and now you're cool somehow. We were such idiots. Like I fully remember us buying the big cigars, like the Cuban cigars. We didn't know that you don't solo smoke of that, and we would go in the car with the the windows closed, and we would like swallow, and at the end of the night I would be like, I don't know if it's normal, dude. Like I have big headaches and I'm you know what I mean, like I'm not feeling super well. And he was like, wow, I don't know. It took so long until somebody's just like, are you soloing, like are
Are you inhaling that?
you inhaling that? And I would be like, and me fully just super confident, being like, yeah, I mean, you're not. And he's like, no, I'm not. And no one is except you. And I was like, "Oh, so that's why
That's why I feel.
I'm losing my voice the next day. Yeah, maybe that's part of it. I mean, yeah, the more I'm telling stories, I'm like, my God, that's a weird.
Explains a lot. Yeah.
Yes, weird character.
Smell memories. That's. I mean,
Maybe it's
There
a
we
side
go.
effect.
maybe
Could be a
so.
side effect.
And we found it. We cracked the code.
That's what happened. It went to my head, and now I'm fucked. That's what happened. But yeah, no. But nostalgia is like it's a big. I see the extent of it on my page, on my socials, because that's sure on my channel, but my socials are very very nostalgia oriented. Like I love making these videos that you have, like I'm showing you MySpace and all those moments, and it's 1 minute of just memories. And I'm seeing the extent of like how different reactions you can get. Some people are genuinely sad, and every time I'm like, that sucks. I just made people sad, I guess, with the video. But some people it's the opposite. Super happy, being just like, wow, those were the days. So there's many different reaction to nostalgia. I understand the sad ones. There's even people being like, no, I don't miss it. I was miserable back then. Now I have kids. I wouldn't go back. And I'm like, that's great. Actually, it's way healthier than me. But it's interesting to see the extent of it, and how nostalgia is always powerful, but very different for people. And then you have Dom, who's just like, cool video. Nothing.
He's living in the now.
Yeah.
No, well, no, but that is the thing though. Like I have a MySpace Deathcore podcast. Like we're still not fully living in the now. I'm not embracing modern deathcore for a second here, right? So it's not like I'm here.
He's the sane version, and I'm the insane version.
Yeah, he keeps it grounded.
Yes, and I never do. Yeah, that's the word.
I'm maybe less like I'm maybe more open to like whatever's to offer today. Maybe doesn't mean I'll end up liking it necessarily, but maybe more
You'll give it a chance.
I'll at least give it a chance type of thing. Because for me, there's kind of like, yeah, we can dwell on like the good old days and all that, but ultimately, like it is what it is. I still kind of rather not be depressed and think that everything today is shit, and then
I mean, I find
live
myself
a miserable life. But
I find myself falling into that sometimes. But
yeah. It's easy to like look.
I never
The
do that.
world's gotten to a point where it's very easy to do that, man. Because I agree with the sentiment, right? Like I agree with a lot of these things on how a lot of stuff, we seem as we deem used to be better, right?
what's even like film? Like
Oh
Yeah.
my God.
so I was going to film school. I work in film now. My wife works in film. We watch a lot of
Yeah,
like,
you said
films.
You said that at the show, right? Like I remember we
Yes,
talked about.
yeah.
Yeah, cool.
So I work for an animation studio. It's not like it's cool in a sense, because it's like things have changed, but a lot of people that are making animated films now want it to look
Yeah.
more original and want it to look more like painterly and like less clean than it used to be. And like I think about Shrek. If you watch Shrek, it looks insane. It looks horrible. But the story is amazing and the movie is great. And so kind of elements of that are coming, I think, more into commercial animated films. In live action films, none of that. None of that is happening.
Right. It depends. Yeah, it depends.
And it
on
looks
what.
terrible.
Yeah.
And there's no story, and they give you the entire plot in the first 10 minutes, and then the rest is just like superfluous.
Well, I'm surprised they're even still trying to do that. The live, with all due respect, like the live adaptation, it's like it's always a mess. Nobody's happy. In your best case scenario, when you recreate or do like a live action, your best case scenario, it's kind of almost equal to the thing you're trying to do. That's your best, like, and even then, people are going to be like, "Why are you doing this?" So that part, I don't get it. But I do have a question for you though, because me and Dom, I'm saying me and Dom. I talk about that quite a lot, about the movies, and I feel like our generation was very lucky in terms of like big titles. We had Lord of the Rings, we had like Harry Potter's, all those movies to look forward to. I remember being like, oh my God, I need to go to the theater. I'm trying
At
to
midnight.
look
You
now.
were going to midnight premieres?
Yes, I did for Star Wars, for a lot of stuff.
Lord of the Rings? Yeah, everything like that.
But look, am I crazy? Because you're in the industry, maybe you're gonna have an answer for that. I feel like they have nothing now to look forward to. I'm like, what's the new oh my god, like that's their Lord of the Ring. Like, what is coming out except, with all due respect, like what they have now is The Rock and Kevin Hart comedies. Like that's their entire.
It's not even that anymore. It's like I don't even so like the last I went and saw Dracula or sorry, the new Nosferatu in theaters like last
Okay.
year. And like I think I audibly groaned at parts of it in the theater.
That was a very divisive movie, from what I've gathered.
It's
I
either
mean,
like you
it's-
love it or you hate it type
It's
thing. you mean?
horseshit. It's like so one of my favorite movies of all time is the 1922 silent version
Mm-hmm.
because it broke a lot of ground on filmmaking, and that's what I'm looking for. Like I'm more impressed nowadays watching a film that came out in like 1933 or 48, and it's like the guy who made it developed a new process of filmmaking in order to get the look and effects on that film. We don't do any of that nowadays. The latest thing that I think was innovated was when Mandalorian was using like
Yeah, the green screen,
the volume.
360 thing. Yeah.
LED. Like
I mean,
what are we?
for what it's worth, and correct me if I'm wrong, the CGI in the Transformer movies were better than what we have now, and that's the part I
Yeah.
don't understand. I don't get it, except if you're trying to maybe cut costs. But I'm looking at them like that's horrible. And then I'm watching like those movies. I know some of them was horrible. I mean, we all remember probably Scorpion King was like a PS2 graphic type thing, but
Take me back.
that was very funny though. That was very funny though. Some of can okay, so the lack of innovation seemed to be a big part of also gaming. I don't know if you love gaming in general. That's kind of always like my example too. But that's what I'm seeing. It's like you could back then there was always an element of we're gonna push that as we're gonna do that. Oh, what if we introduce like that new mechanic? Like in movies, it was the same thing. It was just like, oh wow, okay, that new we never did that. And now it's more like what title can we pick and remake shot for shot but worse? Like that's kind
what
of the
it's driving me insane. And it's all it is it's all marketing and merchandise.
and it
Yeah.
And that's
probably
even-
works. It probably works, right? Like
It does, but this is why. So the film that I'm working on that's finishing like this month and it comes out in February is an original story.
Okay.
It's maybe not the greatest story, but it's its own IP that's original. And I respect that more than I respect, the fifth version of Toy Story.
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like, come on, guys. How many generations of people are we going to keep selling Woody to? Like, this is insane.
It's also
Create something
because
new.
and again, it's coming from, I love Toy Story, but in general, the only thing you're gonna do over time is to make it less special. It's like
Yes.
it's like if we had like
We've seen it
15
already.
Lord of the Rings by now. 15 Lord of the Rings. It wouldn't be as legendary as it is now, or 20 seasons of Breaking Bad. I'm telling you, right now, people would be like, it's okay, I guess.
You don't look for it's like you said, there's nothing to look forward to. There's like the whole element of like being captured by the story and being like, how is this going to end? And then once it ends, it ends. Why are we so afraid of that? Why are we so afraid of like,
Yeah.
once the story is done, it's done? Think of a new
They just see it as, I think, and I could be wrong, the market. I think they're just like, oh, so we still make movie with that. Let's just make another. I feel like they're making movies until it's like less money. Okay, so let's just close it. I feel like could be wrong again. I'm not making movies.
No, I mean
but-
that's exactly what it is.
That's the mentality, but to me, it's kind of also just. I think it's almost maybe human nature to kind of always want to gouge the most you can out of something. and
Yeah.
I always look. This is kind of like a bullshit example, but like I've had this in my brain since like my early 20s. I'm like, let's say you open a store, and like it's slow business at first, but your things are stocked, and over time you make more and more money. Why can't people just be content with the fact that at some point, you're selling all your shit, you're paying your employees, you make a good salary, you don't need to make store number 2, or you don't need to expand your store. You don't need to do any of these things. You could just predict how much money you're going to make every year because you're capped the fuck out.
Mhm.
And why can't we leave it at that? But I feel like this happens in everything.
Mhm.
And I don't know. I have a problem with that. Like I don't see myself as kind of that way in a sense. So I just have a hard time understanding why people are always kind of just, I don't know, yearning to make more or to expand a thing that and always these things end up failing.
I
Right?
find it
Yeah.
sincerely
Like,
American. Like,
yeah.
I think it's a very sincerely US driven ideal
Yep.
to do that.
1000%.
And that's just me living on the outside looking in, being like,
Mhm.
wow, I really used to fall victim to a lot of that. And it's easy to
Yeah,
spot
yeah.
now. I think
Oh.
I still fall victim to it. My wife calls me out a lot on it. She's like, you'd be
Mm.
great at focus groups because you fall for marketing. So I think it's just
Yeah, yeah.
ingrained.
No, but again, it
Yeah, I
works.
think it's human nature. It's like I think we're just like wired that way. But I deeply wish we weren't. Right?
Well,
I think we would all be so much better off if we were able to make a good movie and say, hey, that was the end of the movie. That's it. All
Mhm.
right? Like because it always, like Yan said, well, they'll keep making it until at one point it's a flop. So it's like inevitably tarnishing the legacy at some point. Right? Like there's no good ending to that story ever. It just doesn't. It doesn't.
Do you know who makes the best movies? Canada.
Do we?
You want to
Why?
know?
Because we don't have enough funding ever to make a second one, or what?
No,
was
no,
it?
no. It's because
We don't have
there's-
enough for the first one.
because there's so much grant money that is able to be
Yeah.
taken, and it's usually given to directors that are trying to do like an indie film or a low budget film, or they have like a small enough budget to where they have to think outside the box to create something and tell their story in an original way.
Sure.
And so you've got directors like Cronenberg. Cronenberg is incredible. He did The Fly. He did, oh my God, he did The Brood. He tells like very distinctly Canadian stories. He has a movie called Rabid, which takes place like on the road between Quebec and Montreal. Shows Montreal in the 70s when it was like a very different place. It's just that's what I like. I like somebody who's telling a story of a place where they're from, and a place that like a story that means something to them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like we're losing that. It's like you hire a director to tell a story that's been told 8 million times, and it's
very
boring.
limited.
It's all the way down to, look, some of my favorite stuff has always been when you really Brick or Scott Pilgrim
Mhm.
or like these movies that like the people, even just the way that they talk, it's like their own language. Like
Yeah.
they have their own slang. They have their own kind of like thing to it. And yeah, to your point, we don't really have that much of that. And it's interesting because you mentioned earlier kind of like some of the more interesting stuff is maybe some of the more nerdy stuff, like the way a shot is made, and it was innovative at the time because and I feel like and yeah, and to kind of tie it to video games, I feel like it's a similar thing too. I feel like now we're very like, and the LED wall thing I think falls directly into that category. I think the more time goes on, we're like all video games are made on Unreal Engine. They've all got that same look. They all have the same mechanics. They all have the same way of being developed. So they all seem samey. And it's you bring up the LED wall. All movies from current era right now are gonna look like that, right? It's got to look to it. It's got the same tech behind it. And I feel like, yeah, to your point, like you've got these people that maybe have less money and they have to figure out clever ways to do things. And that's where you see some more innovation. But it's sad that we don't get that innovation without the limitation, right? Like that stuff doesn't, like you would assume that if you had more money, you could just be more innovative. But we're in this world where, yeah, it's probably cheaper to use the LED wall than to go shoot in the desert, right?
Well,
like that's just kind of like a reality now. But and the same thing with video games. It's way cheaper to use Unreal Engine than to build your own platform to make a video game, right?
It was also, I think, and that's because there's a podcast I really love watching, well, most listening, because whatever. It's called How We Made Your Mother. I think it's How I Met Your Mother, and like they're kind of talking about, and what they were talking about is limits leads to creativity in any field. That's always what's going to happen, and I fully believe that also, because I think we were lucky younger because the technology was evolving, and then you had to adapt. But at the same time, it was also limited because it was a new thing. It's like, okay, so what can we do and that's why you've got amazing games like Ocarina of Time and Mario 64 and all those things, because they were, it's pushing the limits to what you can do with the game, and they were like, you had to think outside the box and to be like, what if we render this and that way instead? Maybe it could project the image instead. But nowadays it's just like, all right, so here's the world and that's it. Like that. It basically, I don't want to get started too much on this, but nowadays it's really just, here's our store and how can we make people buy on our store? That's I just told you the entire game for
movies is to Grayson's point. It's the product, right?
Yeah.
I heard, correct me if I'm wrong, it was something crazy. It was like I think Frozen, sold like fucking crazy for sure in movie theaters, like top grossing movie fucking ever, but sold even more merchandise.
Yeah.
Like the
Continues to.
portion. Yeah, right. So the portion of money they made was actually more so from the merchandising, even though it was like the most fucking popular movie ever.
Yeah.
That's unfortunately is like,
but it wasn't
there and is the reality, right? So,
I'm not saying it wasn't there, but it wasn't as much. Like
but I mean, Frozen is contemporary, right? Like it's the current problem.
But back then, it was more like just I don't know if it's like the reason behind. Maybe there was less of a push in terms of like corporate and stuff like that. It could be that, but that's the example I often use. And he's gonna laugh, but like in Halo, for example, you had all these crazy Easter eggs and all those amazing moments. I fully remember being 15 and looking for the hidden skulls in a map just to have an armor. Nowadays, it's just like, hey, so $5 and you've got that skin. Soulless, no goals, nothing. It just sucks. Like you go online, so you remove the entire, just like the dev. It was a way from them to show like we care. Like they would write. You would still find something. People are still finding things after all these years. Of like, oh my god, they wrote that on that wall. If you jump on this, you're gonna find this. None of that exists in video games nowadays, and I'm saying that confidently. None of it. It's all gone because the delays, and the irony is just like it takes 15 years to release any games right now, and it's always a letdown. So that's the reason why small studios are what people love, because they're more limited, which leads to the other conversation. Now they maybe have more limits. They have a smaller team. They have to think outside the box, and it's coming from a place, like a real place. So the corporate isn't really there in that aspect. So it proves the point. And I'm sure it's the same in movies, even though a movie probably costs always a lot, depending on what you do. I'm very
Video games are way more.
It's worse?
Yeah.
It's way more.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. My bad. I thought it was the other way around.
No, video games have way bigger budgets.
Oh,
But do
okay.
movies take more time to make now?
No.
Less
Less.
than before?
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
Because
usually
that's what you would have hoped for with like technology and stuff, right? But for some reason, it's backwards in video games, and now it's just more complex to put out a fucking game for some reason.
Especially with all the cross-platform stuff. It can be, but like my office is shared with a video game company that makes for one platform solely, and it's they're developing their own play system.
Oh,
Cool.
And it's top secret. I have no idea what it looks like at all. And we're not even allowed to go into their office, but it's like our same umbrella company.
so if we see
Okay,
you one
sure.
day disappear, we know what happened. You went
Yeah.
and,
So I don't know anything.
This
I signed an
episode right
NDA.
here.
I don't know. They have great parties.
we don't know, but there's someone behind him at the moment, and
There's
like,
a red dot on the side of my
watching. Yeah,
face.
they're just like, don't you dare.
But
No,
yeah,
you're
but yeah,
surprising
they,
me though. I didn't know. I would have guessed every time movies are way more expensive. So
No, like an animated film takes about 4 years to make fully, if it's like fully animated. And then a film that is live action with like VFX and stuff is usually about, I think, a 2-year turnaround from like start of production through delivery.
Okay.
There's just like more people working on.
Yeah, there's way
I
more.
don't know.
Well, the industry is kind of in a weird spot right now with all the strikes that happened,
Right.
COVID.
Yeah.
So there are like the bigger companies are okay and they're kind of steady, like ramping up and getting projects that were delayed. But I think the field has narrowed with the
My
acquisitions.
friend works in VFX, and it's been rough as hell
Yeah.
since COVID.
Yeah, VFX took a big hit because of all of the live action stuff. So anything to do with screen actors, writers, that was delayed for almost a year. All of the COVID stuff
Well, it
made
was COVID, then the strike, like you said,
like back to back.
and
Yeah.
now the economy. So it's like now shit's just not getting funded. Like it's
Well, now
just-
Quebec took away all of the tax incentives too. So everything's
there
moving
we
to
go.
Vancouver.
Why
even though
not?
there's right? Like why it's all language based. It's because of language stuff.
Every
It's
move
because-
that I'm seeing, I'm always like, it feels like since for so long, like not to get political, but like every time I see something, I'm like, oh, so let's make it worse. Every single time I see something, oh, it's gonna be so much worse. Like all
I'm
the
not even
time.
I'm learning French. Like I'm actively learning French. It's hard. It's a hard language to learn.
It
and
is.
it's like
absolutely.
if I'm trying to make a living full time, have other things that I enjoy doing and learning French, like if you want me to commit my full time, 2 years of my life to learning French, you're going to have to pay me for it. Like I can't make $200 a week and be in class for 8 hours a day just to learn French.
Takes
to live
time.
here.
Mhm.
Takes a long time. Like in French, you're kind of unlucky on that. Like it's seriously not because we speak it, but it's one of the
No.
hardest. It's been like set, like it's official. Like it's one of the most difficult language to learn because it makes no sense. I'll be honest, it just makes no sense.
I've
Full of
taken college,
exceptions.
like I've taken college level French courses, and even the teacher was like, most French people like from France don't know how to properly
Yeah.
like use grammar.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
People are
100%.
terrible here. Like it was like I had good grades in French, and it was kind of a thing. It was like, wow, you have good grade. Like it's my first. It's like
AKA, you just know how to write.
yeah.
You know, like,
And because I
nothing
was
more.
reading a lot, which helps, right? Like if you read a lot, then because you memorize like the words or just so if you write something, you know it kind of it's off.
but I switched to reading in English real quick, so I didn't get that buff.
Yeah, but you speak
I
way
was a
better than me in
bookworm,
English.
but-
I should have done that. But yeah, in French, it's like one of those things, and it's the amount of time that the teacher is just you're gonna ask a question, right? A logical question, and the answer is gonna be like, it's because it's like that. That's gonna be
Don't think about it. There's no
We-
yeah.
When
No
I
logic.
remember I was at Concordia and I was taking French classes at Concordia
Mm.
as an elective because I like wanted to get better in French, and I was in like level B2, and we're learning like movement verbs, and she's like, oh, when you use movement verbs in passé composé, you use être instead of avoir. And
Mm.
literally the first 3 people that gave verb examples, it was the 3 exceptions that you use avoir. What to
no
do?
reason.
What are
And
we
no
supposed
reason.
to do?
There's no reason. I had teachers telling me like, stop trying to figure it out. Like no, say
Yeah,
because I was like, I don't.
try. Yeah, you need to understand the logic, but there is
Yeah.
no.
There isn't.
Yeah,
There's
there's
no
no
reason.
understanding.
That's what I liked about maths, right? Because there was a logic, there was something behind. It could be like because we do that and that, but in French it was just like, no, it's an exception. Yes, but the other thing was
in
also
English,
an
you've
exception.
got maybe like 20 words to learn that the plural is like goose and
Different.
geese.
Yeah.
You know, but like once you learn them, is like you're good. You know, that's the extent.
Yeah,
What's amazing
Oh.
is that because English is so spoken globally, that like everywhere you go, the accent is different. It doesn't really
Mm.
matter because everybody has an accent in English, and it's all different no matter where you go.
true.
But like French, you can go to France and speak Quebecois; they will not understand you.
Yeah, that's
they're pretending that they don't, but
I don't want to get
assholes.
into it, but
yeah.
Sorry, French people are not assholes. It's just it's annoying.
Which is okay. I get it. But I keep saying it though. We don't have here. We might have the worst French on the planet. Like I'm
I
not
love
kidding. We might have the worst one. First of all,
yeah,
half
you
of
love
is
it.
English.
You love it because you love the hickness of it, but you don't love it for its poetry, for sure.
I do. I love the weird colloquial phrases and stuff. I'm a redneck. Like I'm from Georgia, so
But that's what I'm saying.
when
is you
I hear
connect with the hickness
Quebecois,
of it.
I'm like, if
exactly,
people spoke French in Georgia, it would be Quebecois.
Well,
absolutely.
That figures. If you
Absolutely.
put it that way, I can see why. But in general, when we speak French, I'm like, what is this? Like no, but like what is that? Like, and every time I'm seeing somebody, because I have an accent. I'm laughing at my English all the time, but respectfully, I'm like I would be considered amazing in English over here as opposed to like a lot of people. And you hear that, and you're like, That's rough. And when we speak French, it's worse. Like it's a quarter of it is like all those weird swear words that we say randomly. We use them as verb. We use them as like nouns. Like, it makes no sense. And then the other half is like bad English translation. So we're gonna take an English word, add 2 letters to it, and use it as a verb, like if it was normal. So when you look at the French over here, I can all kind of understand why you go in France and they're like, what? Like, what did you say? Like, I kind of get it at the same time. That's my explanation of it. But
I love the phrase "check ça." Like, whenever something is good, it's like "c'est bon en Chris." It's
Makes
like
no sense.
you just add "on tabernacle on Chris,"
Yeah.
and it's like really fucking good.
for no reason.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
It's
it's
not
amazing.
adding anything. Just
Oh no, well it's levels,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like and
And
different
it's how you
swear words
say it,
will
right?
give.
It's how you.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
the
You can
how do you
know
say that? The
de-
intonation. Yeah.
depending on the swear word,
Oh yeah, the same word could be positive or negative depending on how you say it.
you're gonna see. Depending.
I love it.
There are stronger swear words, like you're more upset if you use
Mhm.
certain words. You know what I mean? So that's an entire just like weird thing. I always wanted to learn English. I know it's different for Dom because he kind of basically always was speaking English. For me, it was just like I need to speak in English. Like I was so tired of watching movies translated. It's one of the worst things in the world ever. Like I remember being young and being like, what is, like, the lips are moving and then they stop and it keeps going. I'm like, I cannot do this. Like, what is,
It's the same 5 voice actors for
Yes.
every movie
and they're
in
all
the
terrible.
world.
They have to be terrible to be hired. If you are a voice actor and you do voice acting for us here and it's in French, I'm pretty sure it's required to be terrible. Like you cannot do a great job. You need to be weird and terrible and not even try. And then you're going to be in it. Second reason was we were late on everything with television. Like I remember being introduced to Dragon Ball, going to my friend was speaking in English and he was like, oh no, we're 4 seasons in. And they would keep just showing the first episode of the first season on repeat. I was like, well, I never got past 2 episodes. And he's like, well, we're 4 seasons in. And I was just like, yeah, I'm learning English. Like I would play video games. I didn't even know what I was doing. I don't know. I was playing video games. I was like finishing games. I had no clue what I was doing at all. Just, I'm gonna try, I guess. So ever since I was a kid, I was like, I'm gonna have to speak English. There's no way
Yeah, how do you
I'm
play
not
Tony Hawk? How do you play Pro Skater?
just, you do stuff and you hope.
Oh, I mean the collectathon stuff is a little bit more straightforward,
Yeah.
I guess. You're just running around collecting the things, right?
Yeah, but then like once you get to Underground, there's storyline.
Oh, I had no clue what was
at
happening.
that point. Yeah.
I was just like, I'm sponsored now. That's great. Like no clue. Like the most impressive to me is like if you go in Mario 64, like every star, it's in English and it's a hint
It's
of
kind
it.
of a clue to yeah.
I didn't know. I was going to. That's it.
Pick a star and just
no clue.
figure it out,
Just
buddy.
running
So, like,
around.
the name of the star is top of the mountain,
And
you're
I
like, okay,
didn't-
that's pretty obvious.
Yeah,
but,
and I'm just here
you
in
don't
the
know.
water. Just let's see what. And depending on the star you choose, the level can change sometimes. Like the setting of the level. So sometimes I would just be like, oh, the level is different. No clue. Was like I'm not even. I click on the wrong star. I cannot even do the stars I wanted to do because it's not there anymore. Oh, maybe I got it. And somehow I had like the stars and I was able to do it. But it was always within me because my family wasn't really English speakers much. And I was like, I went to the worst school just because it was the only place with an English program, just to tell you how bad I wanted to learn. So I'm glad I did. But yeah, English over here isn't, Montreal, it's good, but here, small cities, it's not great.
Yeah, have you kind of like ventured outside of Montreal at all that
Yeah,
much?
of
Because
course.
Montreal is like its own like microcosm.
Yes.
Of
Oh, I'm aware.
everybody speaks English and
Yeah.
French, right? But
So
Maybe.
you don't got to go far
Nope.
for that reality to be different.
So Nancy, my wife, is like a big beer person. She loves
Oh,
like
hell
she
yeah.
brews beer. She loves beer. So we go to the Eastern Townships all the time.
So she loves
Hell
that
yeah,
metal.
yeah.
Yeah, she does actually love death metal. Yeah, a lot. And actually, I think she's more into like blackened stuff. But yeah, anyway, that's. But I've played shows in Drummondville, and I
There we
played
go.
shows in
That's where he's
Sherbrooke.
at.
That's
There we
exactly
go.
where I'm at.
Yeah, we played. I've played like the Saint Pay one time,
Yep.
and it was very interesting with Desecrate and who else played that show? It was a bunch of bands.
Weird
from
place
Montreal.
to play. It's kind of it's
Deceiving?
special, but weird at the same time. Like the way it's to me, it was always like there's a lot of shows there, and I'm always
Yeah.
like, that's a special venue. It's a weird place.
It's interesting to see the bands that pack it out.
Yeah,
Like
true.
there's a few from that area that I've seen that like they'll like sell it out, and I'm like, I've never even seen this band play Montreal. I'm not gonna name names because I'm not trying to throw shade on anybody, but it's very interesting.
Yeah. No, people are get behind
local scenes, man. Yeah.
Yeah, local scene here.
Yeah.
It's really somehow here. It's always been like punk and a bit hardcore was like the two big things, and people that get behind those bands, they're like every show, every. It's kind of this whole just like.
Well, I played Sherbrooke recently, and people were wearing merch from the bands that are from like Trois-Rivières and like Drummondville, and I was like, dude, what? This is weird.
Yeah, but because those bands will do the small.
Yep.
you
Yeah,
know,
they do the
that'll be
regions.
kind of like the few regional stuff
Yep.
they do.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a different reality. Like people, again, like Montreal is such a uniquely, like it's its own thing. A local show in Montreal, you're competing against the 10 other hardcore and metal shows going on that same week. Some of those bands are like Metallica on one night and Slipknot on the other. So you know,
Cattle
people gotta pick and
Decapitation
choose.
played the night before Despised Icon at the
I know,
same
yeah.
fucking venue.
Same venue. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Aborted was so it's that's kind of the reality, right? Whereas like, you know, Drummondville, well, yeah, the show's packed out. It's the one show that month
in
you
3
know?
months.
year
Yeah.
maybe. So that's
So, well, especially for like a specific genre, right? You're like, hey, if you're a fan of this kind of music, like you better be there because it's not gonna happen for another while. So it's you get outside of Montreal, and you know, most places get some at least decent crowds. There's have you ever played or been to Noranda?
No, but I know that they have like
Yeah, they have like it's like a mining.
it's where
like a
Guntway's
coal
from.
mine, like they're like a coal mine city, like 8-9 hours away from here, butt fuck middle of nowhere. And for whatever reason, like their shows, there is not a show there under 300 kids. Like any day of the week.
I know,
you know,
Prowl toured there. Like they went
Yeah.
on, they played a show out there, and I was like, how was it? And they were like, it was packed. I was like, what?
the most welcoming people. There's always an after party. People are like so thankful that you're coming to play their small ass
it's the event of the year.
Everybody shows up. The it helps like the few promoters that do put on shows there, like they get it. They understand what it is, and they don't oversaturate their shows, and they pick the right bands, and they do some cool stuff. So it makes sense. And then FME is like crazy every year too. They always have a like metal / hardcore night.
Despised and
every year,
Scorching
too.
played this year, which was cool.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that was one of Despised's only shows around here.
Because you rely on these people,
This year.
basically. The people, like the entire local scene relies on, you know, I remember a few years ago, a long time ago here in Drummondville. No, seriously, I was about to say a few years ago. It's like 2000. That's not a few years ago. I wish it's not. We would have bands like freaking Chelsea Grin, Abacab, like stuff like that, because it was organized. Like, but if you don't have these people making it happen, it won't happen. You won't have that. It was a special thing though to see like Monsters and all those bands around here. It was like, what is happening? You know, in a small, I think it's called La Pio, like a small, very small venue. But yeah, we rely on everything. Depends on that. So if you're talking about Rouyn-Noranda, like it's because of those people that these things are happening.
Yes. It's cool. I like that. I don't know. We didn't play like the right show in Drummondville, which is unfortunate because I know there are a lot of people there that enjoy like hardcore and heavy music. But I think a lot of it also has to do with who's promoting the show and whether they're like a local person. So it just it wasn't the right situation. But I thought that the people that we did meet were really nice. And it was a cool place to hang out. The green room's great. So
yeah, that's what I heard. Like the place itself, it's fine. It's just to your point, I think it's either cool or not cool. Like it's like there's no, it's not, you know, it's either, oh, it was pretty cool, or it needs to be packed and the ambience needs to be there, and then it's great. But if you don't have that, it basically just looks like it's a bar,
Like a
and then you're
big
here.
empty room.
It's a huge empty bar.
Yeah.
And it's just like you feel like you asked the owner, like, can we play, or can we, practice
jam
and
here
play
tonight?
here? Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And they're like, oh, sure. Like it looks like that if it's not proper.
It's a
lit.
dad rock cover band bar.
Yeah,
Mm.
exactly. Can we plug our stuff? Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Like that. It'll kind of.
That's
look
like
them.
play the Murdoch. The Murdoch in Sherbrooke. That place is sick.
Never heard of it actually.
I dig it. Yeah, it's cool. I specifically love how it's split, and you've got the bar on one side, and then the venue on the other side of the door.
No, that's not like that anymore.
No way.
So there's Magog.
What? But is the maybe I'm getting the two confused.
Magog is like in a basement.
But that's it's literally underneath that venue, is it not? Am I crazy?
I don't know. I've only been to La Murdoch, which is it's like a small ass room, like the size of my living room. And the bar's
it's all
on
kind of plywooded up and shit.
Yeah, and it's like attached.
Yeah,
so it's like
it's
like in a strip of garage. So it's like a bunch of car garages, and then it's on the corner of the garages. It's like
yeah. It's as sketchy as it sounds.
It's amazing.
Yeah, I was mixing up two venues, but yeah, absolutely.
I loved playing there. The people there were awesome. Like the people who ran the show, the venue guys, like the people who came out. It was so sick. We played with a band. Oh my god, called Wraith.
Okay.
And they were cool, like really nice guys, very good players, like crazy good. So it was like a hardcore bill, and they played like pretty clearly deathcore music, which was fine.
Yeah.
Because like a lot of the local people love that band. So
yeah. When I played there once, and it was with Apes actually.
oh, nice.
And yeah, we didn't sound like apes for shit. So
wait, new apes or old apes?
But,
No, I'm just kidding. Old apes is like power violence.
It's all the same.
It was
It's all
power
the
violence.
same. Yeah. Well, it was power violence then.
Yeah.
For
They're
sure.
very
This
like
was a while
black
back.
metal-y now.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's always kind of been that grindy kind of,
Mhm.
But I don't know. Weirdly, small local shows to me, like a mixed bill makes sense. Not that I don't want it on big bills, but people are kind of just used to it. Just
Mhm.
tonight it's gonna be a show, and it would be like pop punk, and then like hardcore, and then another band. It kind of makes sense. We're like, okay, sure. Like it's less maybe official than like a big tour or something that comes around here, and people are, I think, ready for it. I would expect maybe the bill to be completely all over the place, So, and as long as you're in that vein, I feel like it makes sense for, imagine people that don't even listen to that stuff and they're just like coming to hang out. For them, hardcore, deathcore, punk, they're just like, oh, it's
all the same. They're yelling.
For them, it's the same. But of course, if you throw like a rap art, like, people are gonna be like, whoa, what is happening? But
Bring back rapcore. Let's get some more rapcore bands going on. Bring back POD.
I mean, look,
Maybe.
it's kind of coming back for
Kind
what it's
of.
worth. We're joking, but those kind of bands are popping up.
Oh, hell yeah.
Right now. The kind of like
Gridiron?
new metal grunge, like that whole kind of vibe is coming back in a pretty big way right now.
There's
everything
a band
comes
called
back.
Yeah, it does. It's all cyclical. The Gridiron from they're like, it's like a super group, I guess, but they're very much like their new stuff is rapcore.
Okay, I haven't ever checked them out.
No,
I
I
mean,
don't
I've
think I
heard the
did.
name a bunch of times. I can picture the logo, but I've never.
If you like new metal music, I think
I do.
like especially if it's like Limp Bizkit, early Limp Bizkit stuff. It's not extremely like, it doesn't sound like West Borland at all, but like it has that tinge to it. Like it's very much like a hardcore band, but the vocal flow is rap, and it's like really like hip hop rhythmic feeling. So
I
I
love
think
that
you should give it a
stuff.
shot. Yeah, it's pretty sick.
Because there's this band called, I think, Silly Goose or something. Like I love
Oh yeah, I know Silly Goose. Yeah,
them. I love new metal, but I don't know a lot of new metal bands.
new metal,
So that's the thing. I love Split Chain is
so good.
best one, and in terms of like the one I'm listening, they were in my your Spotify, whatever, that I didn't share because I feel like I was just like, probably nobody cares, so I didn't share it. But Split Chain was on it. It was like one of my top.
Split Chain is sick. And have you listened to Bleed?
That's the
Did I?
that's
think
what
I
I
did.
sent you. Yeah, and
Oh,
not too
yeah,
long
so I
ago.
did,
They're fucking,
yes.
they're dope too. Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
working on a project that's very much so it's a lot more hybrid theory leaning than bleed, but it's definitely like that style or like genre that I'm kind of going for. And it's like hybrid theory feeling with like Deftones mixed in.
I'll fuck
That's-
with it if it's more hybrid theory than it is Deftones. I've got
I
a
love
hard
both,
time with
so-
just the drony,
Like it.
slow, spacey.
Oh, it's not
kinda
slow at all.
stuff.
No, it's
I
not.
just-
It's very much
that's
like
like the side of like the whole Deftones kind of thing that I don't know, man. I look, I know Deftones is sacred to a lot of people, but I could never get into that sort of.
I
I
prefer
love
the
it.
I
But it's
prefer
too
the more
ambient.
like the breakdown style of Deftones, like Diamond Eyes, where it's like that style. So that's where I'm kind of getting the influence from. And Stefan's like his guitar tones, crazy.
It's funny because I like it personally. The big like I don't know why. Like we had the big conversation about nostalgia. I think it has something to do with that. It's like it's the feeling of being lost in your thought almost when you're in that. That's the vibe that I get, which is my whole life.
I'm too ADHD, man. I get bored, dude. I'm like, come on, when's the next note? It's been droning for
You're
10
saying you're
seconds.
too
I
ADHD.
can't
Look
do it.
at me. Like it works.
But that manifests in different ways
Yeah.
for different people.
No,
It
I'm just
loses
saying.
me at the horny vocals. Like, why is he like moaning in my ear? It's too much. Stop.
That
too
I
much.
that I can see that. But yeah, for what it's worth, I understand what you mean because there's this. My first attraction to new metal was mostly hybrid theory, like the more I would call it more aggressive way of rapping, and it's way more metal, and I would get attacked for saying that. And you cannot say that new metal is metal like ever online because that's you're gonna
Matt
get all the.
McGachy
That's not
said
metal.
that he comes from new metal and he's in Cryptopsy.
Point proven.
The king has posed.
It's just
There you
always
go.
been funny to me. Like Slipknot isn't metal. Oh yeah, so it's what like pop punk. Like what are you even saying? Like it's not metal. No, that's not the right words. It's not death metal, which is the only thing you listen to. That's the difference. But that crowd, it's so funny to me. They treat everything like it should be death metal. So they're gonna listen to deathcore and they're like, "That's not metal." Yes, it's metal. It's not death metal. It's just not what you listen to. And then they listen to Sleep Token and they're like, "That's not death metal." No, not trying to be. Never did. Never said they were. It's not metal. You know what I mean? So
Subgenres don't exist, Yan. They don't exist. Subgenres aren't real.
the
Everything
band
is
don't
death
care. All the bands don't care
know.
about that. So most
That's
of
the
them don't
irony.
care. So it's just the fans. Like, how dare you? You see someone making like I'm watching videos sometimes of in other scenes like death metal, and just because I'm interested, I want to know. And I'm reading the comments. Sometimes I'm like, "That's your takeaway." Like he just did like a huge retrospective of like all this is super interesting and stuff. Actually, you said that band technically that there were two styles. I'm like, it doesn't change anything in the story. Doesn't change a single thing. Knowing that, no impact ever, nowhere. So it's always been funny to me. The actually, it's not technically metal. So I dared, dude. I'm sure Dom remembers on my socials. I once said that my introduction to heavy music was Linkin Park, and they all took it like I meant death metal or deathcore or something. It's not even heavy. Did you even listen to real metal? I'm like, that's not what I meant. I meant
It's
as
the
a
gateway.
kid. So
It's the gateway.
That's it's it's for them. It's like there's one way, and if you don't, you know what I mean. But at the same time, I mean, they comment, they're here even for those big bands, like the Sleep Token hate is probably helping them so much to get like more exposure. Like they're fans actually. That's the beauty of it.
Closeted Sleep Token fans.
For real.
Everyone
they care
loves
so
Sleep
much.
Token.
They're waiting for the new song to trash talk it, right? But they're still waiting for it. They click
play.
like so,
Plays is plays.
They pre-saved the song, man.
Yeah,
I'm
plays
sure
are
they
plays.
do. I'm sure some of them do. How much you want to bet that I'm sure some of them are pre-saving it to not miss it, just so they can.
Spotify doesn't know if it's a hate play or not. They just count it as
Exactly,
a play.
man.
You played it.
The bands do. The band. Who cares? Like they're playing shows or during their like they couldn't care less. I don't know them, but I would bet that they're probably like, okay. So that's interesting always.
Well, boys,
Yeah.
I hate to cut us off. I hate to wrap things up. I feel like there was so much that we could have talked about, and yet we rambled about nostalgia for so long, which is great.
Yes, we did.
Listen,
Yeah.
I
want us on the show, that's what you're gonna
I
get.
come with topics. I come with like questions just in case. We didn't need it. It was all natural, right? No script, but I really appreciate you guys for hanging out.
Dude, that was awesome.
Thank you, dude.
Honestly.
Yeah, thank you for having us on, man. It was cool.
Thanks.
It was cool that you asked us to do this, and again, it was cool. It was cool to meet in person just right before before we do this. It's always like a nice kind of icebreaker, I guess. You're like, oh, okay, I know that guy now. Like, okay, I know he's chill. Like, I don't know. There's like a bit of a rapport before going into it. So
you can size.
Man, this was a lot of fun, man.
Yeah,
size him up.
Size him up.
Yeah. For better or for worse, you could have turned out to be an asshole.
that would have been very funny though. Imagine
maybe we would have canceled. But
he's just like mean for no reason, right? Like we see him in real life, and he's just like mean, and he's the one saying you guys are not real metalheads and stuff like that, and then you have to do this.
You guys aren't down for the core. Yeah. No, I'm joking. I just have one last question for you before we go. What's your favorite city for beans and breakdowns? Don't think about it too hard. Oh my god.
Favorite city
for beans and breakdowns, for coffee and for
shows
or music. Coffee, I have no clue. We're gonna have to. Look, I'm a stickler for California, man. I would move to California any day of the week.
Interesting.
I wouldn't live in San Francisco unless I was filthy rich. Maybe San Diego has great coffee.
San Diego is
a fucking vibe.
I love San Diego.
Metal scene is great out there too. So I'm gonna say San Diego, man. I love San Diego.
Solid.
People told, because I didn't travel much, unfortunately, right? So I have like 4 choices, but and even that's generous. It's probably less, but we did go to LA. And even though a lot of people were really mean for no reason, in general, I really liked the vibe. I don't know what happened, honestly. I felt like I was polite and I was nice. Maybe something happened. Hated my accent. I don't know what it is.
It's just LA.
I don't.
That's
People
just LA,
have been telling me that. Yeah. But ever since I was 15, there's a city I want to like. There's a place I want to go, and I hope I'm not mistaken. San Francisco apparently is a great, like a cool place for like skateboarding and stuff just a good place. And I always kind of wanted to go there. So like, even though I never did, I'm going to say that, cause hopefully maybe people are not mean, or maybe they are, who knows? But to Dom's point, I mean, California in general, that would be,
and dude, talk about some quintessential deathcore bands.
There's that
have all fucking
and
came
people
out
are
from
mushing.
the Bay Area and California.
I'm
man,
a big
so.
face down guy because I grew up in church,
Mm.
and so any face down like early 2000s face down band, 7 Star, like there's a lot of bands that cross that like very heavy hardcore breakdowns thing.
Yeah, well, the bleeding through and stuff like that too.
Suicide Silence,
Suicide Silence. The Goats.
the Kings. I won't say. I'll say like Despised Icon is like the Godfathers.
Sure.
Suicide Silence are the Kings.
Oh, I mean,
I'll accept that.
Yeah, the deathcore. It's very fair to say we wouldn't have the deathcore we have without Suicide Silence. They put everything on them. But they took deathcore. It was like here, just.
Despised Icon walked so Suicide Silence could run. Is that kind of thing?
Exactly.
I think they would agree to that.
Yeah.
And in fact, they agreed to that. Like they said it.
They sat down on a couch with Garza and said that. Yes. By the way, we didn't even talk about y'all went on Garza's podcast, which is fucked up.
That was
crazy. That's insane. You met the man. Why was he crying the whole time? Does he just look like that?
Crying?
Looks like that, man.
He always looks like he's about to cry.
I think he's just an emotional guy. I think he's a very thoughtful and emotional dude.
Yeah, he feels a lot.
Comes off that way.
But
he listens intently, right? So there's a
But let me tell you one thing though that is awesome about Garza. You meet the guy and you couldn't have more authentic than that. The guy you see in general with people and stuff like that, same, except, you know, maybe even like nicer in terms of just like very welcoming and cool as a person. I don't think he could have been nicer to us. Funny too, very funny too. First thing, I'm just gonna say it because it's funny. One of the first things he tells me is like, "Hey, dude, on your channel, you should make a video about how I ruined Deathcore. Make a video about Chris Garza ruined everything." And I'm like, "I won't do that." He's like, "Do it. You should do it." He's just like funny and cool but for us it was a surreal, like, I'm gonna speak for myself, but once it was done, I was like, we did that. Like, it was just like a surreal as we were going there, even after, I was like, we did that. We were both listening to that podcast since forever, and then it's Chris Garza. So for us it was crazy. I couldn't believe it. It
It's
was
insane.
great
Like,
guy.
Like, not to draw this on, how did that even happen? Did y'all hit him up or?
With Dom, actually.
We were going to LA. Look, Elijah was doing a couple reunion shows in LA, and tickets sold out in
30 seconds.
literally 30 seconds. And I was one of the people that was able to get two tickets. I did not ask Yan. I just bought the tickets. You know, it's like shoot first, ask questions later.
Yeah.
That was one of those moments. I was like, I'm just buying these tickets. They were like $25 tickets too. I was like, I worst case, I lose $50. I don't care. So I just bought 2 tickets, and then I hit up Yan. I'm like, "Yo, what about taking the plane? Are you down?" He had talked to me briefly about some past plane experience that he didn't enjoy. So I was like, how can I convince you to take a plane to go to
I had
LA?
no reason to say no. The way he presented it, he's like, "Listen, it's sold out. I have tickets. We can do it. It's going to be great. It's in LA. How do you want me to be like, no?" Like, there was no, I was just like, "Oh, I guess we're going."
Yeah, so basically, all that to say, we bought tickets originally to do that. We were like, okay, we may as well stay a few days because we're, flying to LA anyways. So we're spending a few days there, and we talk with Chris on and off. And I was helping out with the thing for him, and I was like, "Hey, by the way, we're gonna be in LA in like 2 weeks." And he's like, "Come do the podcast." And I was like, "What do you want to ask us?" Like, what? Right? That's not what I replied, but I was kind of like,
Fortunately.
"What does he want us on the show for?"
Shoot
right?
first and ask questions later, right? You just gotta say
right,
yes.
but
yeah,
we'll figure it
it's
out.
just kind of, so yeah. Well, it was an obvious yes, and I didn't ask Yan either before saying yes. I was like, "Yeah, I said I'll ask Yan, but I already know his answer." So it kind of just went like that. But yeah, for us, it was kind of like, he's had a few people that are maybe just more content creators or whatever, but for the most part, it's all musicians, right? They're talking about their tour, like their band history, and like, I don't know, there's just like it's just a different vibe. So for us to be asked to be on it, I was like, I don't know what this guy's gonna want to talk to us about, but let's go. And yeah, he kind of treated us as like the dudes that know about deathcore a lot and are obsessed with the MySpace era, and he doesn't get why. So that was kind of like the conversation that we ended up having. And yeah, to Yen's point, it was we like got out of there and was like, what just happened?
And it's
so fucking cool.
We didn't get much into that, just to end on that note, but like, that's the dynamic between me and Dom. Like, we have that level of trust of just like, he's like, "Okay, so next week it's gonna be that band. I know you don't know them, but you're gonna love this and this and this, and they're awesome. And it's your type." And I'm just, okay, cool, that's awesome. And then I listen, and I'm like, "Oh, he's right. I actually love that." And that's kind of how it goes, because it's way more simple, and there's no it's never happened that I was like, "No, I wouldn't have." It's always just like, yes, that's great, I guess. So the trip, it was like that. The Garza, he just called me. He's like, "Dude, we're gonna be invited." At first I didn't understand. I was like, "We're going there and interview him?" He's like, no, we're on. I was like, "Oh, cool, it's awesome." So it just works better like that. He's very organized. I'm not, so it makes more sense that we do that like this. And it's been 2 years. I mean, more, maybe even more, and it never happened. I've never never once was I like, I don't know about that. It was always like, yeah, sure, let's do it.
Well, I mean, it was sick to see somebody representing like Montreal in the podcast community, being the definitive voice of top 5 deathcore bands. It's like
that one got some reactions too.
That
we
is
love it.
very-
We're here for that sort of stuff.
it's
man.
very crazy, but I really I admire what you guys are doing with Brutality Podcast. I mean, it's very sick. I tune in. I think the quality of the production is amazing. I'm still trying to get there video wise.
It's all on him though. Like completely clueless. Like fortunately, no. That's
look.
We're so
for better or
lucky
for worse.
that
When
it's
there's
him.
a tech issue, it's me too. So there is that,
Damn.
Yeah, but
But
the
I
entire
appreciate-
show, the entire show would be a tech issue if it was me. Like the show would be tech issues with Yan. That would be the what is going to be the next train wreck? Like that would be my thing. No, he's in charge, because I do want to say that though. Like he's doing all for the podcast. All I do is, of course, we talk together about the evolution of the things, but in general, I sit down with. I'll be honest. I just sit down with no preparation at all. I just go in and I talk with people. He's like prepared. Every single guest if you watch our show, you know that like every single guest is like, how the hell do you know about that stuff? And he's like
Nardwar.
I do. Yeah, that's what he does.
Try. Someone's got to know, man.
It's
know?
crazy.
That's pretty crazy. But he does all of that, all the pages we have, like the posts we do, everything. So that I couldn't honestly, like the reason why it happened is because he's doing all that stuff, because he knows I'm obsessed with my own channel. I spend my entire life just like, nostalgia and stuff like that. So he's basically the reason why we can actually do this and taking care of it. So it's all on him.
Well,
But Grayson, I do appreciate the kind words though. It's cool to hear, and it was cool. You hit us up. You're like, oh, that'd be cool because it's like a Montreal. Like I'm from Montreal too, and it's like hell yeah, like that is like a cool thing, right? It's one thing. Obviously, we talk with people all over the internet, and that's the beauty of the internet. We can have a guest that comes from Australia, and they're literally it's a different day for them of the week, and there's a beauty to being able to do it. But I thought it was cool. You're like, yeah, because from Montreal too, it'd be a Montreal thing. I was like, hell yeah, that's fucking dope. And I'm newly familiar to your show, and I was scouring through some of the guests and a couple of your episodes since you hit us up. I really enjoyed the one with Vomit Forth. And you got a cool thing going. So, and for what it's like production and all that stuff, that's cool, but like ultimately is like not the game changer that a lot of people think it is, right? So
it's people in the field that notice.
Yeah. We nerd out about this stuff because we're like about it and want to like maximize everything that we can. But dude, you're a good interviewer and you're a good time, and that's ultimately what really matters. So this was a lot of fun, man.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Man.
Well, hopefully we see each other sooner than later. I know, and you live a little far, but
I'm trying to.
It's
not even a living thing. It's just me not going out ever.
Well, listen, next time Bruiserweight plays, you guys are on guest list. We'll figure it out. I gotta have you guys come out to a hardcore show.
Hell yeah,
down.
man.
And bring you out of Mosh retirement.
Yeah. So well, we're at least witness a mosh pit, right?
Yeah. Because you didn't see one the other night.
We didn't see one the other night.
No disrespect.
Didn't happen.
I need me a mosh pit in my veins, man. You got to supply it for us.
Yeah.